So just like I did for the big 20 number 15 like full run. Yeah, I think that was like in 2022 or something? Not to go like back and double check like what year that was. I'm pretty sure it was 2022. You know, when I completed my first ever Big 20, I only did like the full run once on race day. And then I still want to actually have it archived on my YouTube channel before like the Twitch VOD would eventually just disappear forever after like a week or something. So, I mean, that original VOD has disappeared from Twitch, but I did download it before then. And I currently have it like open here in Windows Media Player, so this is like the entire like 3.75 hours of the Big 20, the single Big 20 number 18 run that I did. Well, actually, no, I attempted games number... Well, actually, no, I attempted to do the entire thing, like, the night before. I only got about 18 games in, and by the time it was 3 in the morning, I still had, like, 2 games to go. I was like, okay, I want to just go to sleep. I'm gonna give up on this. Try again, like, on race day. I should do much better after getting a good night's sleep. So just like for Big 20 number 15, I do actually want to have this, like, archived on my YouTube channel. I think I might just, like, opt to fast forward until, like, the run actually starts. I think here we were just waiting for the time to count down for the actual, like, race to start. We were just waiting, I think, at this point for everyone to, like, be ready and, like, ready to start running. I don't remember exactly, like, when, like, it started. I don't have, like, the race time chat, like, on screen saying, like, who's, like, still ready, who's not ready, like, how many people are just... How many, like, people are remaining before I can actually start the race, and then, like, who initiates the timer. So if I skip to about, like... Okay, I skipped too far. About, like, 3 minutes in, roughly, is where it should start. So roughly here. Okay, I did do the up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start Konami code. So I did give myself the extra lives. I mean, ideally, you're gonna not die at all and not even need to use a single life, and ideally, even more ideally, it's technically possible to actually meet the requirements for this goal before even, like, having to play anything in Stage 2. So, to be more specific about the goal itself, I mean, the game is Life Force, but the goal is score 50,000 points. That was the goal for Big 20 number 18. This is the only scoring goal in this list, and if you know anything about the game, aside from the boss fights, every single level is just auto-scroller, so... Taking that into consideration, you can totally imagine why it would be a scoring goal. Considering, otherwise, the only fluctuations in time that would be possible between all the different runners would be, like, how fast they could kill the bosses. But even then, like, post-Big 20, like, surveys show that this wasn't a very popular goal. This was, like, honestly never really high on my, like, personal, like, favorites, like... This was never, like, high for my, like, personal favorite goal. I mean, I still did want to try and figure out exactly how you can get some enemy kills in such a way that you score double or sometimes even triple points. Just moments before, like, race day actually started. I never really, like, figured out what made it consistent. Apparently it has something to do with just lining up both your Gradius or Vic Viper, whichever ship this is. Whichever one it is, your character ship, whichever one you are, and one or both of your options in such a way that somehow, like, both of those, like, kill the enemy on the exact same frame. Because once you pick up, like, 5 power-ups and then just lock that in for an option, then you have this other, like, thing shooting bullets alongside you. Apparently if you do that in such a way that both your shots and the options shots can just kill the same enemy on the exact same frame, it could just count you for double points. That's my guess is what must happen to actually give you double points, but I never really figured it out. I was never really able to do much of anything with that, unfortunately, so couldn't really get like a super fast life force. It's not just that you really wanted to try to do, but level 1 has like 3 places you can just fly to. These are just, let's just say these are completely invisible 5,000 point pickups. If you're trying to reach a certain score threshold, you definitely want to go for these. And once you know where they are, yeah, definitely just go for them like every single time. Yeah, so this right here is, yeah, the first boss, and yeah, if we were just talking about like pure speedruns, this boss and then like the other like end stage bosses, these would really be the only places where you could just like gain or lose time over other people. So here I'm thinking, what if I could maybe just somehow get like a very lucky kill and somehow just, I don't know, have my option and one of my bullets, both of our bullets like literally kill the boss on the same frame, and because if this boss ends up giving me double points, that would be massive. That would be like 10,000 extra points that I wouldn't have to go get later. Because if, yeah, you defeat the boss, it's 10,000 points. But I quickly look at my score and then I just realized, nope, I clearly did not get double points, so I'm gonna probably have to play through most of level 2 to just get the scoring goal out of the way. I mean, I guess the goal was like okay, and I see why it really had to be a scoring goal to not feel like an even worse goal for this Big 20 list. Because otherwise, yeah, it really would just be an auto-scroller, like, outside of the boss fights. Like, everyone would pretty much have, like, equal times outside of the boss fights if it was just, like, a beat level 2 or something like that, instead of, like, score 50,000 points. I mean, yeah, just thinking about it that way, it seemed perfectly obvious to, like, the Big 20 staff that we gotta make this a scoring goal. So I'm trying to go down to that, yeah, that bottom right corner I was trying to hover around. There was supposed to be a 5,000 pickup, a 5,000 point pickup there, but I could never actually manage to really pick it up. Okay, so I just realized, okay, I'm gonna probably have to play, like, even more of level 2 out to get this over with. I mean, ideally I should still be able to complete this before even having to get to the end boss of level 2. And then, yeah, this was a part during practice that I had kind of trouble just not getting hit. Some of these rocks fall stupidly fast. They tend to cover up like half the screen, and you can't shoot them down, those gray rocks. And I've definitely lost my fair share of lives like there multiple times, and when you do, you typically just lose like every power-up you've picked up to that point. Maybe you can just catch your options back before they just drift off the screen if you die and respawn, but if you're like literally at the bottom of the screen, you're gonna have no time to get the options back by just trying to like pick them up before they fly off screen. So more often than not, when you die, you just lose everything you have. You'll just go all the way back down to your default weapon, which, yeah. Which, again, just makes it harder to stay alive because you just have, like, this pretty crappy, like, pea shooter. And not also, like, missiles that cover, like, enemies to your sides. Just weapons with larger blast radiuses. Or other options that can just fire alongside you and maybe hit stuff that you weren't gonna hit. So at this point I'm getting very close to just getting the scoring goal. And yeah, I didn't even have to fight, I didn't even have to like go through the rest of the fight against this mid-boss because that right there was enough to meet the scoring goal. Still took me about 7 minutes though. I've only ever managed to do that in about 6.5, like, at best. And if, let's just say, if you somehow, like, get all the double points, especially, like, the double points on the boss, it's theoretically possible to, again, just beat level 1 and somehow scrape together enough points to just get the 50,000 by getting a lot of double points from enemies. Yeah, such a run would probably just be, like, barely under 4 minutes. Alright, now on to the next game. Apparently this one also wasn't, like, super popular, like, after, like, we were asked, like... Yeah, after there was, like, a survey that came out asking people, like, what their favorite and least favorite games were. This was one that didn't really, like, do so well with the Big 20 crowd. Yeah, because for the most part, you don't really have too much control over the game. Yeah, I think just like a standard game of football, there's 11 people on each team, and during each play, you only really, like, control one of them. So yeah, like, pretty often, you just don't really have much control over that specific play because, I don't know, your character is just way too far away from the person with the ball. Yeah, so ideally what you want to do here is just score touchdowns, because you have to get to 25 points or more for... That was the goal for this game in Big 2018. Score the 25 plus points. And yeah, this is something I especially struggle with. Just actually, like, knowing what to do on defense. I mean, on offense, because apparently Bo Jackson is just really good, like, really, really good at running fast. Just do plays with Bo Jackson, just... Yeah, just have him run all the touchdowns. But on defense, yeah, on defense, I definitely had less of an idea as to what to actually do. There are options that you can actually modify the team data in this game. You can modify the team data for every team, actually. So you can also, yeah, like, so on offense, you could decide what plays are in the playbook for your team. Also on defense, for the team you're playing against, you can just choose all of their plays in their playbook. And some advice I got from, like, one fellow Big 20 runner, I think Sci-Town, recommended that I just pick a bunch of defensive plays that involve passes that take a long time to set up, just to give your team plenty of time to try and, like, do a quarterback sack. Apparently someone had success just giving, like, the opposing team a lot of, like, pass plays that took a lot of time to set up, and then just trying to go after the person with the ball before they could ever pass it and set it up. Whereas offense, I just... Yeah, when I actually, like, set the team data, I just chose, like, all of the Bo Jackson plays. I mean, even here, I'm literally only choosing plays with Bo Jackson when I'm on offense, and then just trying to follow the line as best I can to run. But yeah, here we're on defense again. And also, I did most of my practice on... I still don't know exactly what happened there, but apparently in football you can do that. And apparently you can fumble, and then, like, if you're, like, really, like, good, you can recover the ball, like, on your own end zone, and then it just counts to the touchdown. Maybe... I literally did not know that you could do that until maybe, like, a few days before the actual race, so that was actually possible. And then I forgot to mention this by now, but I did most of my Big 20 practice, almost all of it on Nestopia, this being, like, my preferred emulator of choice. But there was, like, one game later in the list where the emulator just really glitches out. So I switched to SCUX for that. And then started to realize, okay, maybe having two emulators open at the same time might make either one, like, a bit laggier than usual, so I might just play every one of these 20 games on SCUX instead. The one that doesn't have, like, graphical glitches for one of the games much further down the line. So I forgot to actually go and bring over my changes to the team data to, like, the other emulators, so... give the other team, like, really, like, long passes that take a long time to set up. I didn't have any of those on this emulator, so I didn't have them for the run. Still don't know how much it really would have changed anyways. Considering I was doing, like, okay without, like, changing the team data. And even then, like, with changing the team data, the best I managed was, like, a 4.5 minute time for this goal. And even here, like, I'm getting very close to just scoring one last touchdown with Jackson and just being able to close out goal number 2. I'm expecting to have it in a few more plays. Maybe just this one play is gonna be enough. Okay, I guess one more play with just running Jackson to the end zone would be enough too. Oh wait, never mind. How many tries did it actually take me to just close this out? Did I get it here? I didn't even get it here either! Getting a lot of first downs, but... I totally had to have gotten it here. Okay, finally. I got it there, though. Okay, so that was about, like, 5 minutes, 35 seconds or something to score the 25 points. Yeah, if you've never played Tecmo Super Bowl before and you need to score touchdowns, I don't know, just pick the team with Bo Jackson and just hope for the best. And now for something, yeah, completely different. Alright, let me introduce you to Tetris 2. I did not know Tetris had a sequel on the NES. So yeah, this is a game that's apparently real. You have to make, like, rows or columns of 3 of the same color to actually just knock out, like, those, like, specific pieces on the board. But ideally what you want to do is... I mean, you have to just get rid of, like, all the pieces with the circles on them. Yeah, there's these pieces with circles on them, these squares with little circles inside that you have to get rid of to actually, like, beat each level. But what you really want to do is especially go after, like, the pieces that flash. Or as I like to call them, golden snitches. I don't know if anyone, like... I don't know if I have to explain to anyone what Quidditch is from the Harry Potter franchise. Yeah, it's this game with these wizards just flying on their brooms, like, trying to just catch these balls and, like, shoot them into... Okay, I barely know that much about Quidditch myself. It's been, like, years since I've read any Harry Potter book, but it's a sport where you have to just score points, I assume, by shooting balls. Is it, like, into each other's end zones, kind of like football? But I know there's, like, I do remember there's, like, one ball that's worth 150 points if someone can catch it. Whereas just, like, the standard goals, like, are worth 10 points each. Yeah, there's, like, one person on each team who's supposed to, like, catch the golden snitch, which is worth, like, 15 times just the points you get from, like, shooting a standard goal. Hence why I call those flashing pieces golden snitches. Because, honestly, that's all that really matters for this game, in my opinion. How fast can you get to those flashing squares with the circles? That's all that really matters, in my opinion, here. Yeah, because if you just get, like, those 3, like, flashing tiles, if you knock those 3 out, you just win the level automatically. So I see I can just easily put this piece on the red there, just immediately do that. Now all the red circles are gone. And now all the yellow circles are gone, just like that. And then I still want to just... And at this point, I'm starting to try to just fish for pieces to go and throw to this green circle, the flashing one down there, but... Yeah, given how, like, 2 other tiles just spawned immediately directly on top of it, this one's not so easy to just, like, really, like, fit. Especially a lot of this clutter on the right side of the screen. This one's not really so easy to fit in there. So at this point, I'm just hoping to get, like, more pieces that can just also break off into smaller pieces, so they're easier to just fit in that tight gap there. To then finally clear out that flashing circle to just end the round. So I don't know if here was a combination of me just getting, like, a bunch of... Okay, I actually still managed to get that one to work. Not sure if here was, like, a combination of me just not really playing well, or just getting, like, bad pieces that made it very hard to just go after those, like, flashing circles. But yeah, a lot of the rounds for, yeah, a lot of these rounds on race day were actually pretty slow. I don't know how I'm supposed to really reach that yellow one in particular. The only really easy one to get looks like the red. Okay, actually, I think I was trying to set up for yellow here, but now there's a green tile in the way. Oh, hey there, Cat Dev. Yeah, by the time I finally get rid of that green tile above the green flashing one, now there's just some red tiles. There's just some red squares I need to get rid of now. And then I'm still just waiting for, okay, and then I tried to put that piece down there and flip it, but I couldn't actually flip it in time. Okay, this one's at least easy to put in the right place. Get rid of that green flashing circle. So in case you're wondering what this is the entirety of what I did on race day for Big 20 number 18. And so far, yeah, this is the third game out of 20 that I had to run for race day. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, I want to just go for that yellow flashing circle as quickly as humanly possible. I want to just get that out of the way. And then I see a piece that makes that, like, perfectly easy to go for. Oh, right. Oh, I actually had a perfectly good setup for red, but no, I screwed it up. That's something perfectly good for red. But no, I moved that red square just one tile over, and I really shouldn't have done that. Okay, now I got rid of the red circles. And now I'm just, at this point, I think I'm honestly just fishing for pretty much anything I can easily fit on either side of the square with the flashing circle for green. And this will be another such piece that can do that. So yeah, as far as race day was concerned, I got like a pretty slow time here. I had quite a bit of trouble just getting like good RNG with just where the pieces spawned in the first place. Yeah, I definitely noticed like quite a lot of just difficult setups throughout this specific run of Tetris 2. Felt like a lot of setups I got, especially on later rounds, which is more difficult than usual. That, or maybe I just didn't practice enough for this game just before race day, because I had other games to worry about. I mean, I still like eventually like had fun with this one. Because, I don't know, it felt like a weird hybrid of the first Tetris, like the Tetris, like the way more popular one, and Dr. Mario. Where you have to match colors and just line up. Yeah, Dr. Mario had to like match like pill colors and then line them up with viruses to like get 4 in a row with those. And yeah, Dr. Mario also only had 3 colors. Yeah, so this is essentially what happens if you just take the Tetris pieces and then just put the rule sets of Dr. Mario in your game. You get this. Except Tetris 2 didn't really have, like, the great soundtrack that... Except I didn't really like the soundtrack of Tetris 2 nearly as much as the other two games I was talking about. Yeah, sadly no Nutcracker theme from Tetris, and no Fever or Chill from Dr. Mario. I mean, soundtrack's not terrible or anything, but it's just like the soundtracks from those other two games way better. I think round 10 was at least a very quick one, because I immediately see I can just go for that yellow flashing circle and just do that with it. And then I see a setup for the red that I can just capitalize off of. Because I got a piece that just breaks off into, like, multiple smaller pieces, including, like, one single red square. So that should be very easy to fit. And then once you get rid of, like, two sets of circles, it just gets, like, really easy to get rid of the third one, especially if you did it quickly. If you basically open around to Tetris 2 and then just go, like, immediately for, like, one set of, like, one flashing circle and just get rid of, like, one color, and then you can immediately get rid of the next, that third one gets really easy to just finish off if you do it quickly. Alright, so enough of, like, the first 10 rounds of Tetris 2, because that's over. Because now we're moving on to Pizza Pop. Which is, yeah, very simple, straightforward goal in my opinion. After actually, like, getting just decently good at the game, this one was pretty simple to just play through. And also pretty fun, too. Also surprisingly fun for something I'm willing to bet just about none of us have ever heard of this game before. Mainly because it never released outside of Japan. That's probably why most of us have never heard of this one. This one never got released outside of Japan. This was a Famicom exclusive game for the NES. The NES library. Oh yeah, I almost nearly die on the first level. That would have been a real mood killer there. Especially considering I still have, like, the whole game ahead of me at this point. And yeah, this building here you gotta climb up the side of. I mean, I got good at just climbing up the building in general. Not really, like, good at going up it too fast. I just eventually got good at climbing up the thing, just in general. And really, once you know what to do, a lot of the bosses are just very easy as well. Almost all the bosses are just super easy once you know how to fight them. I figured if I just, like, jump, like, just before, like, he lands or something, if I just time my jump that I'm, like, halfway up the screen before he lands, and then I just whack with the pizza paddle, like, 4 times, and then I jump, then I go to jump on his head, like, he'll have thrown his hat by then, so I can actually land on him and do damage. Yeah, so just jump, swing 4 times. Essentially, that's just like a perfectly good way to, like, time that, to make sure that I don't, like, mistime a jump or anything on the second boss. Okay, so I don't know why I had so much trouble here at the start of this quote-unquote turbo tunnel section, where random barricades just get thrown in front of you as you're trying to just drive, like, at a really fast speed across this screen. And there's ramps. Yeah, how could I not think, like, Turbo Tunnel from Battletoads when I'm playing this screen here? I run into 2, like, obstacles, and then past that point, I start to do very well. Okay, so I'm down to 1 heart here, so I just want to make sure I'm not taking any more damage. Once I'm past that last construction worker throwing dirt, there's no, like, actual places to take damage from, but there are a lot of pits that just fall off the screen and die immediately anyways. I mean, beating the game always sounds like quite a commitment, but this one is not too hard to beat. Let me be honest here, this one's not too hard to beat. So yeah, this is a little bonus game where you can just score extra points by catching these pizzas and throwing them in the oven, but this bonus game lasts for 35 seconds, and as far as I know, there is absolutely no way to go skip it. So I figured, I don't know, maybe I'll just play along for a bit, because what else am I supposed to do to, like, pass the time? I'd have to literally just sit here and do nothing for 35 seconds. Even though that timer starts at 3 minutes, it's always a 35-second bonus game from when that timer starts counting down. Again, I'm under the impression that the score doesn't really matter too much. Maybe you get some lives if you score enough points, but I don't know. I didn't really give a damn about it. Okay, these hooks, I'm trying to just grab onto one of these hooks here. I need to get a boost off of jumping off this construction worker here to catch on one of these hooks. This was something I always found tricky, and as you can see on race day, I was struggling with that quite a bit. Yeah, I try to just time my jump right so that I'll actually be able to catch one of those hooks so it's not like too far up the screen. But that construction worker also has to be in the right place at the right time. Okay, here I'm honestly just taking things a little bit slow because I just want to be 100% sure I'm not going to fall in the hole and have to just go all the way back to the beginning of level 4. But I mean, overall, still, like, this game was still, like, pretty surprisingly fun to play, in my opinion. Definitely enjoyed this one. Oh, what's going on outside? What the hell is, like, honking their horns? Alright, the haunted... Did I have trouble in the haunted mansion on race day, or was that, like, the night before I had trouble? I don't think I had any trouble with this on race day. Like, no real difficulty. I got that key, like, first try, and yes, you do have to bounce on those ghosts to reach it. Including jumping over this pit that spans, like, over an entire screen. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to do this when I first got there, like, during practice? And then once I saw all those ghosts to bounce on, it all made sense. It's that kind of thing that just literally looks impossible the very first time you see it, and then you realize, oh, actually no, this isn't too bad at all. Okay, here I'm probably still just taking it very slow just to dodge those green jack-o'-lanterns. And coming up to another boss that, again, once you know what to do, is a very easy boss, this vampire here. I just wait for him to fly towards, like, either the bottom left or the bottom right corner, and then as he's on his way, I jump, and as he, like, actually reaches his destination, I'm on my way down and I just jump on him. Alternate left and right, rinse and repeat until he dies. So I guess these are all the customers we're delivering, like, I don't know how the conversations are going because they're in Japanese, but those are all the customers we're delivering pizzas to. One thing that kind of bugged me about this game is why, like, at least half the customers that we deliver pizzas to look so ugly. That's, like, one thing I can never get over. The witch, I don't know, that construction worker from, like, the 4th level. There's that guy from the 2nd level. Why do half of these people look so ugly? I mean, don't get me wrong, I still had fun playing the game. Maybe this part was a little stressful, just trying to go fast and not run into... Yeah, I'm also trying to just worry about the fish that are in the water, but if I'm focusing too hard on that, Nick could just come from behind like that and just potentially completely screw me over. That's why going into this, I want to have as much health as possible, just in case Nick wants to surprise me a couple times. Yes, I did watch the credits to know that our rival, who's trying to like stop us from like delivering all these pizzas, who's competing against us, that's Nick. Yeah, because it looks like, I think he's trying to like do the same thing as us, but I guess he wants to deliver more pizzas and make more money than we do. Yeah, he's basically, I think, our competitor. I could be like totally wrong on this though, because I haven't read the story. Even the girl in the bikini here looks kind of ugly. And then, yes, another, like, 35-second bonus game that, as far as I know, cannot be skipped. If you don't catch any pizzas, like, nothing really happens. So I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna take this nice 35-second break. Okay, this is the last level of the game. Apparently a few people, like, actually died this final boss, but... I mean, once you really figure out, like, what you're doing, this final boss isn't too bad. I mean, this final boss still tripped up a few people on race day. It didn't trip me up, though. I just didn't get, like, the fastest possible kill on it. Because there are actually, like, plenty of projectiles you can deflect at this robot to just defeat it quicker. It's just most of them I'm not really that good at timing my attacks to just deflect them. Those are two you can pretty easily get the timing down to just do damage with. Here you gotta time a jump, like, while he's not, like, raised the robot. That was another fist that I tried to deflect back at the robot, but I completely mistimed it. And then there's, like, falling spike balls. You can maybe get multiple, but I only ever figured out how to, like, deflect one of them back to the boss to damage it. If you really know what you're doing, I think you can get multiple, but I have no clue how. Which, of course, just stops me from getting an even faster boss kill here. I'm pretty sure I get the fist that time. Yeah, I get the fist that time, and then that's my 6th hit on the boss to just defeat it. Yeah, at that point, I guess once the screen fades to black, and then we've beaten the game. This was one that sounded like it was going to be really fun. Also, quite a little bit intimidating because it's the Battletoads game. Battletoads and Double Dragon. This was also like a staff pick for Big 20 number 18. Specifically, you had to get all the way to and beat level 3-3. That's a pretty hefty chunk of the game, by the way. That's about, I think, like half the game. Of course, this being, like, something I've never played before, closest thing I've played to this was, like, the original Battletoads, so... obviously didn't have much experience going into this, and it was honestly, like, for most people, a pretty, like, long goal as far as Big 20 goals go. About, like, in the ballpark of, like, 15 to 20 minutes. I never did this in under 17. Like, low 17 minutes was, like, the best I ever managed with this. So these levels are auto-scrollers, but the scrolling will stop when there are just enough bad guys on the screen and you have to just clear them all out to get the level to start scrolling again, so... Yeah, ideally, you want to just find the fastest ways to kill literally every enemy in the level to just do this as fast as possible. Something I'm not exactly the best at here, as you can see. I got like pretty good at quickly killing those hands though, at least. But some of the other enemies here, like the orange flying robots especially, they gave me trouble. Yeah, these, especially when there were like 2 of them firing sets of bullets, these gave me trouble. And yeah, as you can see, they're giving me trouble on race day as well. Both in practice and on actual race day, I had trouble with these guys. And yeah, Abobo, I think his name is, the first boss? How quickly did I beat him here? I think it was like the night before I had like a somewhat quick kill on Abobo. On race day, I think I got something slightly slower. Apparently you can just skip this boss entirely, but I don't know what the hell you have to do to just completely skip Abobo. Apparently, like, it's entirely possible to just outright skip the fight and make him despawn, and then the game just think that you beat him. Like, I don't know what the hell you do to make that work, though, but apparently X-Christine got it. At least, like, once during practice. Yeah, like, one of the other, like, people, like, just doing practice for full Big 20, like, for race day, like, she managed to just completely skip the Abobo fight, and I don't know how. Apparently, I think you can maybe just take out these guys with like the green pants in like one hit, but I only ever really figured out how to just take them down in 2. Yeah, so I just like I run into them, I kick them, and then while they're like on the ground before they can stand back up, I want to just do like that jump like very high up the screen, then just drop kick them for the 5,000 points. Yeah, just like a quick kick to like kick them halfway across the screen and knock them down. Kind of like so, and then run up to them, except that wasn't like that wasn't the exact attack I wanted to do. That wasn't the drop kick. Let's see if I can do the drop kick again here. So something like... No. Something like this. Again, that's not what I was intending to do. So something like that, and then... Again! It's not that much slower to just do that attack instead. I'm still gonna knock him out. It's not that much slower. Never really knew exactly what the best strategy were for these guys here. Something like this. There we go. And then that jump really high up the screen, then just drop kick with the knees. Then I think from this point onward, like all of the enemies with the green pants, they go down with like one 1,000-point kick. Run up to them, just kick him, and he's not getting back up from this point onward. Yeah, it is definitely quite a bit faster to just kill them all with like one kick. Like so. Like that. And that. I had some sticks of dynamite that were thrown pretty far from where I was standing. Made them kind of difficult to actually chase down before they blew up. Yeah, that's the last one there. And if I'm not mistaken, this was the Turbo Tunnel section of this game. Yeah, this looks like almost like the exact same hover bike that featured in the first Battletoads with its Turbo Tunnel stage. Yes, this is probably the same hover bike. Except this one is pretty different from the original Turbo Tunnel. Fewer obstacles, just in general. Yeah, except now in the middle section there are just other enemies on hoverbikes trying to knock you off of yours. Instead of just like static, like for the most part, like static non-moving obstacles. Now I have to deal with other enemies on hoverbikes just like yours. If I'm not mistaken, this whole section's just an auto-scroller. Just try to not lose lives to it. So really not much else to say here for the moment. Also, apparently there is a much faster way to defeat. I'm just calling him the Rat Boss from Surf City because that's what he looks like. Looks like I fought him before, like in the first Battletoads on Surf City. Apparently there's a much faster way to beat him, but I never really figured it out. This was like, just like always, like, this was always like the best I could do. This was like the best I could manage. Now I'm just trying to get back into the groove of kicking him over and over. I'm struggling with that. Apparently it took me like a good 10 plus seconds just to get the last two kicks to beat him. Alright, here's the stage with the women with the whips. Same strategy I'm trying to use to quickly defeat the enemies with like the green pants in level 2, but the timing has to be just, you really have to get the timing right, otherwise the woman will just whip you on your way down from like the drop knee, and you just simply won't take her down. Yeah, at least for the areas where like you have enough room to do that strat. Your timing has to be right, otherwise on the way down from your drop knee, like she's just gonna whip you. Here I don't think we'll have really like room to set it up, especially since there I knock her off screen. Or worst case scenario, we can just grab them by the hair and punch them just above the boobs, if all else fails. This was probably like the one thing in this level that I was like the worst at dealing with. These yellow turrets on top of the screen. Those, like, I sucked at dealing with those. Yeah, sometimes when I get close to it, it just literally moves the other way and I have to go chasing it down. Yeah, these I absolutely sucked at dealing with sometimes. Apparently I figured out, yeah, you can just stay on the right side of the screen there, you'll take no damage. If you want to do that. I think I try to go for some of these pickups on the right side of the screen anyways and get hit a few times. Yeah, hit twice in the process or something. Yeah, overall, this was, like, definitely, like, the level that gave me by far the most trouble trying to go fast. Levels 1 and 2, in my opinion, weren't too hard to get through quickly. 3, on the other hand, was kind of another story. I had quite a bit of trouble trying to do this one fast. And I think you can kind of see why I had so much trouble with it. So what I tried to do was just jump over, like, to the other side of the screen, try and actually kick the woman to the right, so I could just attempt to, like, kick her off the stage entirely, but I clearly had, like, no luck with that. Until she already took out, like, 2 of my extra lives, I had, like, no luck with that. I think here you just don't have, like, enough headroom to really jump, like, up the screen to just do, like, the drop knee strategy that I was doing for, like, most of the enemies. Yeah, these crushers also gave me quite a bit of trouble trying to just deal with them quickly. I don't know, one thing that I still find very interesting about this game is just how most of this game's speedrunning history is really just dominated by people from Russia. Like, if you were to like go to the leaderboards for this game on SRC, you'd see that like most of the people on the leaderboard hail from Russia. And a majority of the tutorials that actually existed for this game were in Russian for speedrunning it. Yeah, majority of the best like speedrun tutorials from this are also in Russian, so yeah, well, like, including, like, the one that I was trying to follow. I couldn't understand a word of what the guy was saying, but I could still try and just play along based on what I saw on screen, and also, luckily for me, the Russian guy had input displays on his screen, so I could see exactly what buttons he was pressing to just get some of the quicker kills on enemies. Yeah, sure, I couldn't understand a word of what he said, but at least he had input display on screen, so I could just sort of try and follow along with that. Okay, what buttons is he pressing to get these really quick kills? I'm gonna try and press these buttons, and I'm not getting the same results, so I gotta just set up something much slower. I think this is part of the reason why I put this game off for as long as I did. I kind of just played it, like, towards the end of, like, the end of practice, like, before race day. I think I might have had, like, maybe a week before actual race day by the time I played this one. I mean, if, like, the only really good tutorials are in Russian, like, how am I supposed to really follow what's going on here? If it's a Battletoads game and the only really good tutorials on how to actually effectively play it are in Russian, I'm probably going to struggle, like, big time. And yeah, with level 3 especially, I had quite a bit of trouble with doing it quickly. Yeah, I tried to go grab that other, like, invincibility pill, but these moving conveyors just made it, like... I'm just having sometimes way too much trouble with the moving conveyors to actually go grab that, so I have to just actually run past all those obstacles and I can just die if I touch any of them. So yeah, like all of the super quick kills for all the boss fights, I never, like, I don't even think I figured out any of them. I mean, I don't speak Russian. Can you blame me? And yeah, still, to this day, I don't know what the connection is between Battletoads and Double Dragon and Russia. You could ask me, but I have no idea, still. I couldn't tell you why, like, this game is, like, more popular in Russia than anywhere else in a speedrunning context. I think that was probably my fastest ever kill on the Stage 3 boss. And I still barely have like any sort of strategy going for me aside from just run up to him and kick him as much as I can until he dies. That's about all I know how to do. So yep, that was the end of level 3-3, so I never had to figure out how to control this ship here. And moving on to, nope, not Joust 2, not even just the first Joust, moving on to Millipede. Which was like also an old school arcade game brought over to NES, just like Joust. I guess that's maybe why they have like the same like title screen music. But no, this is Millipede. This is a very, very fast-paced game. Even faster, considering the goal is only the first 10 rounds. And especially fast if you know exactly how to just get the optimal clears on these rounds. I don't know if that says like DBT or DDT or DOT, those items at the top of the screen, but if you shoot those, you create like an explosion that if any like piece of the millipede gets caught in, like it just dies. So that can just enable some very like fast millipede kills to just get some very quick rounds in. Something like that, for example. And now I'm struggling to get the last two pieces. Oh yeah, Menacel, hi. This is just me like rewatching my Big 20 run from like about a week ago. This was like what I did on race day for... Yeah, this was about like after 4 weeks of practice, by the way. To learn like 20 different NES games. How to speedrun them in some capacity. A lot of these are like not full game runs. Some of them are. There's like probably plenty more than 10 rounds of Millipede, but we only had to really run the first 10. And I think the WR for that is like well under a minute to do this, to do the first 10 rounds. This is doable in like under a minute if you really know what you're doing. My personal best for this is like 1 minute 10 seconds. But I get something on race day that's not even close to that. As you can see, I was struggling with this last round a lot. And then I do die to the Millipede, and I'm on my last life here. And then I still have quite a bit of trouble just getting rid of the last couple pieces of Millipede. And then... literally as we enter round 11, this could not have been any closer. I said earlier the goal was the first 10 rounds. That could not have been any closer right there. You're probably gonna have to go and like, I don't know, like just rewind the stream, slow that down, but as round 11 begins, or just before it begins, Spider just shows up and kills me for my last life. But it does, the game technically still does reach round 11, so it's still good. And now on to something that wasn't actually, like, that wasn't even actually out when the NES was like when the NES was actually the current like mainstream console at the times. Because this is a homebrew known as Bobble. This is a homebrew. This was still made on the same, this was still made for like the exact same hardware. This was still made for like NES hardware, but this was not a game that was actually out at the time of the NES. This was a homebrew that I think might have... Did this come out in 2020 or something, or did it come out earlier? Yeah, it's still made for like the same hardware, still made for the same console, but yeah, long after like NES games actually were coming out, like by like official companies. In case anyone's wondering, the goal for Bobble was to beat the game. Which could definitely take a while, like on the very first playthrough when you don't know where to go, but once you do, it's not too hard to really get this in under 6 minutes. And if you know some of the shortcuts, under 5 minutes. I think I get something barely under 5 minutes here. And then on your way you pick up like other power-ups that just give your bubble like new special abilities that it didn't have before. Kinda like Metroid in a sense. Where you have to explore this, where you have like this map, this whole like map to explore. And then along the way you can just find like items that just give you like permanent like new abilities that you didn't have before. Again, I'm gonna take this nice little shortcut here. Once I go back to the right here, I'm gonna take this nice little shortcut again. And then I'm gonna go take another little shortcut here once I grab this bell. Yeah, you can just, if you touch like anything solid, you're gonna die. Unless you have like the iron bubble, then you can just bounce like one time off of something solid before you have to land back in water again, or before you just die. In case you're wondering, yes, now I'm trying to actually skip the checkpoints. Because when you do die, you just respawn at the last checkpoint you actually touched. And yes, there are a few places you can actually take advantage of this just to go even faster. Yeah, one coming up right here you can take advantage of just not touching a bunch of checkpoints and then just death warping back to somewhere you want it to be anyways. And yeah, that is pretty precise to skip that bell just before the double jump. Rather than have to like take a long pipe and then do some more backtracking to get back to that area I need to be in once I got the double jump, I could just simply take a death and then warp back to that checkpoint that I got earlier. Yeah, so that right there is definitely a place you want to death warp if you want a fast time. Except actually skipping that bell on the screen with the double jump, that definitely requires some nice precision to actually pull off. Which, yeah, as you can see, I did get that on race day. And then here, the rules of the game change considerably because a lot of the platforms are just clouds now. Now you're really having to just, like, do double jumps and also just gaining momentum by falling with the iron bubble to just bounce higher when you do land. As opposed to just, like, not popping on solid surfaces. These clouds aren't gonna make your bubble pop. But now, yes, you gotta do some platforming with the help of both your iron jump and double jump in tandem. Yeah, kind of stuff like that there. And yes, this should be the end of the run now. Yeah, it looks like I got that in a little bit under 5 minutes. I think that was like a 450 or something for the final time. Not actually my personal best, but very close to it for Bobble. And then after that, we got Cowboy Kid as one of our 20 games we have to learn how to run. Specifically, 3 of the bosses, and 3 specific bosses too. Apparently there is like one level that's mostly just auto-scroller, except for the boss fight, just like Life Force. So instead of just making it a scoring goal, yeah, instead just basically like design the goal in such a way that people are not supposed to play that. So the 3 bosses we do fight, none of them like are auto-scrollers, the levels. And then apparently there was like also one like outlaw you could go capture that will offer you to like join his gang, and if you say yes, which is the default choice by the way, if you say yes, you get a bad ending in a game over screen. The game just ends if you say yes to joining his gang. And if you're just mashing like, I don't know, like A or start or something, if you're just mashing A and you accidentally pick yes, you just prematurely end the game and you have to start over. Yeah, like also Big 20, like the staff didn't want anyone to do that either, so that was like another like boss they just chose not to include for this Big 20 run. So I know it's definitely not Chief / Joe or Keith the Hawkmaster that offers you to join their gang because, yeah, that choice simply never comes up with this goal. You're free to still like fight those 3 specific outlaws in any order, but ideally, I think you just go to Chief first because you can grab the rifle there. And then, yeah, you can very quickly just get your hands on a weapon with, like, a projectile reach. So you don't have to get up, like, you don't have to get in front of the enemy and just attack it and kill it. Yeah, just very early on, you can just start fighting everything from a distance. So yeah, first thing I do, like, once I actually get to, like, my stage select, I pick the Indian, and then I go grab the rifle on my way there. Yeah, but first, before I actually have to fight the bad Indian, I do have to go and actually stop the water flow, because he's hidden in a cave that's being obscured by a waterfall, so you need to stop the water flow so you can actually access that cave. And on the way, I just grab the rifle. Okay, is my video's starting to lag a bit. Yeah, my video's starting to lag a bit. Do I just maybe, like, pause it and then just wait a bit and then it'll, like, start playing smoothly again? I hope so. Or was I maybe, like, dropping frames or something when I was live streaming? I could have maybe been dropping frames on live stream for all we know. And, like, maybe just, like, the recording would always do that. So, the first phase of this Chief fight, in my opinion, really easy, actually. Especially if you can just keep these minions from really taking over the screen, which is really not hard to do at all with the rifle. It's pretty easy to kind of just shoot them as they just converge towards the center of the screen. But then, like, phase 2, like, Chief himself just starts running after you. And as you can see, with the help of a walkthrough. Otherwise, I would have probably never beaten him. With the help of a walkthrough I found on the internet. This is apparently, I think, the most effective strategy to beating him. Try and just keep Chief in this pattern where you're just alternating between running left and right and shooting him until he just dies. Yeah, ideally you want to just keep Chief in this pattern for as long as you can. Until, yeah, he goes down. Okay, where'd the audio go, though? Okay, it's back. Yeah, considering how this game portrays Native Americans, though, and how we're having to specifically run after one and shoot them, I don't think this game could come out the way it is right now today. Yeah, because of just how much more sensitive our culture is, there's no way this could come out today. I guess unless, like, the game was just really changed. There's no way the game could come out like this. Not to mention, this also feels like a kind of game that, I don't know, GDQ might ban for one reason or another. Also feels like that kind of game that might get blacklisted for the reasons I've mentioned earlier. Apparently, also, if you want to make like just the rest of the run for the 3 bosses you have to fight much easier, you can just buy all these items from this shop, and you'll have plenty of money to do it just by having defeated Wild Wolf Chief. You can just buy yourself like some meat, the hat, and a bulletproof vest, so you can take way more damage than you would otherwise. So yeah, I did have to go pick up that key earlier from the sheriff's basement, and specifically unlock that building, let that guy out, so he can just tell us that we need to go to the train station to go chase down Slash Show there. Yeah, for the most part, I'm able to just simply run across this train and tank hits from all the enemies here. Because of all the extra like items I picked up, I can just easily tank damage here. Okay, this isn't Slash Show just yet. These are probably, if I'm not mistaken, a bunch of his henchmen that we have to deal with first. But I'll go down to 1 bullet, but there's a lot of them. Especially if, I don't know, I just start missing with half my shots. I really feel like there's just an easier way to pin down Slash Show, but I never really figured it out. This fight has always just kind of taken as much time as it has. I don't know, ideally I kind of just wait for him to like throw knives that he's not moving around so much and it's easier to just shoot that way. Not really much else to say here. Like, I don't know, I think my gameplay just explains just about everything right now is going on. Me struggling to take down Joe quickly. And this is like, yeah, the third outlaw we need to catch. I mean, we could have fought him first or Joe first, but this was like, yeah, the community pretty quickly worked out that this was like the ideal order to go and take them down in. The rifle is in like Wild Wolf Chief stage. There are a bunch of safeties in Slash Joe stage, and there's nothing that's really gonna help you out too much in Keith stage that you could pick up there. So it makes sense to just kind of do this one last. I mean, unless you know exactly like which ways you need to go on the tracks ahead of time, it is pretty easy to accidentally go the wrong way. There's like a 50-50 chance on multiple occasions just accidentally go down the wrong track. Unless you know exactly which ones are correct ahead of time, which, of course I would. After practicing this enough, of course I would. And now I have to just simply run back. Well, actually, no, I don't run back to the tracks first. I have to go unlock some building, free somebody who can just fix the bridge, and then go back to the tracks. So this is just a matter of, yeah, running back here, talking to this guy, and then I can go back on the tracks. I know I don't even think I really fall off the stages at all here, but when you're like new to playing this, it's actually pretty easy, if I'm not mistaken, to accidentally just walk off the stage a few times, not knowing exactly where you can stand and where you can't. Yeah, I do find it a little bit easy, like when you're just very new to this, to accidentally walk off the stage. And then there was like one poor sap who, I don't know how he did it, but he managed to get stuck in an endless cycle of just respawning over an instant death pit and just falling to his death over and over again until he ran out of lives and game overed. I think this was also like just after a screen transition that somehow caused it to start happening, this endless cycle of dying. And yeah, that other section with the forest, I actually got stuck there until I realized you can jump over the trees? Yes, this cowboy can jump over trees that are much taller than he is. Don't ask! That's still probably one of the most puzzling things by far in this entire Big 20 marathon. The fact that you can jump over trees that are taller than you are, and you have to do that to actually progress. Had I really just gone into this game blind on race day, I could have literally just gotten stuck there and like literally not known what to do. Not sure how long it would have taken to actually just jump over the trees, realize that's what I had to do. And then yeah, for the boss fight itself, you just ideally want to just shoot Keith while he's just hanging onto the tree branches, because that's when you can damage them. And the eagles, I guess try to shoot them as you're just running around. I guess you can try and just still shoot them anyways, but yeah, Keith himself is your main target. I mean, if you just so happen to shoot the eagles while you're going after Keith, then yes, sure. I guess that's always good. Just less things that can damage you. I mean, even then, I should still have, like... Yeah, I already beat the boss. I had plenty of health still to my name. And this was the last one. And then the next game was also a Famicom exclusive. I think there's another version of Rampart that also released on the NES, but it wasn't this one. The one that actually shipped out like overseas in the West was not this one here. The Konami version, this one's exclusive to Japan. Probably another reason like this one like really just went under the radar for so long. And even then, it's still like really obscure. And yeah, the brief moment this game really got in the limelight was just among this niche community. Because of Big 20, because like this was a staff pick, I think Overswarm might have picked this one. This is like a staff pick by, I think, probably Overswarm, but I'm not sure. He's also like one of the few people who actually ever did runs of this on SRC. So I'd have to bet money it was like his call to put this in the Big 20. Specifically, play on easy and beat stage 2. At first, I thought it was just beat stage 1. At first, I thought it was just completely and utterly dominating on the leaderboards until I realized I'd also have to go and play like another level as well. I thought it was just somehow like placing more than 2 minutes ahead of first place. Until, yeah, like somebody pointed out that I in fact had to go and play 2 levels, not just 1. You start on level 1, you gotta beat that, and you gotta beat level 2 as well. I seriously thought I was beating like the goal in like 2.5 minutes. Until I realized I actually wasn't. And then I started to get like pretty consistent 6.5 minute times. And then even a few runs that just somehow barely got under 5 minutes. Because I just got insanely fast level 2s. So at least for these first 2 levels, there are, yeah, of course there are other levels in Rampart and different objectives to work towards, but for the only 2 levels in the Big 20 race they actually have to play, the objective is to just work your way towards like a clear point threshold. You do this by defeating enemies, wolves in this case being worth I think 20 points apiece, the mice 5 points apiece, and just building up territory, and each tile you capture giving also a set amount of points per tile. The more territory you claim in the round where you have to rebuild, the better. The more points you get, of course. And also, if the main character is not enclosed, like, within, like, if they're not enclosed within a set of walls by the time that timer reaches 0, you game over. But, yeah, these 2 levels are just so easy that really shouldn't be a problem unless, I don't know, for level 2, you want to push your luck and go for like a 2-round level 2. If you want to push your luck here and try and get 1100 points in just 2 turns, you can go for that, but you have less time also to actually build up your walls than you did in level 1. And also just less like space on the actual like terrain to work with. If you see the bottom left corner here on level 2. I think I'd still try and go for something fast on level 2. Okay, do I actually just opt to like enclose my... Okay, actually no, I think I do just go for like... Try and claim like most of as much territory as I can first before trying to close the loop back up. Okay, I do play a little bit more aggressively here. Assuming I'm trying to go for the 2-turn level 2. Which I'm like dead certain that I missed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I missed it here. I think I just come up short on this first round to really have a shot. But more importantly, like, I would want to make sure that... I mean, I think it only really has to be like Little Red Riding Hood that's enclosed in some like perimeter before the time runs out. But ideally, yeah, also like enclose the other soldiers in a perimeter as well so they can actually attack, like during the battle rounds. And another factor that can make this a lot easier to 2-cycle to level 2 is just the tornado just taking down more trees, so you have like more places in the map to just try and cut walls through to just claim more territory. For example, since some trees disappeared earlier, I can just cut a wall through that very top part of the screen since the trees disappeared there, like, on the second battle round. And maybe with that area on round 1, I could have 2-cycled here. I mean, I'm still trying to just get as many points as I can last minute. Hoping to maybe get a 2-cycle, but... I'm like, what? 17 points shy, I think, from getting this. I'm 17 points off of 2 around level 2, so I know I can just kill one wolf who's worth 20 points, and then just meet the requirements that way, but actually no, I kill some mice. Actually not even necessary to kill mice at this point. The one wolf would have given me enough points. This game wasn't that popular. It wasn't, like, that hated either by the rest of the Big 20, like, speedrunning community. Wasn't that hated either, but it wasn't, like, they didn't really find it that exciting. I mean, yeah, that timer that ticks down to 0, even if, like, you have everything you want set up the way you want it to be set up, even if you set everything up just right, you do have to wait for that timer to tick down to 0. There's no getting around that. Let's just say you've built up your perimeters and you still have like 15 seconds to spare. You still have to just sit there doing nothing for 15 seconds. Which actually really, like, makes it just important to just, I don't know, try and just do, like, all of the objectives in as few rounds as possible because, yeah, especially the building part. The building parts are just auto-scrollers. And then moving on to what probably had to be by far, like, the most well-known, most popular, probably the most liked game in the list. I mean, Bobble? I forgot to mention that Bobble was also, like, pretty well-liked, and that was also probably one of my personal favorite picks as well, despite being a homebrew. Yeah, looking back at this list, Bobble was probably also one of my personal favorite picks. And then Mega Man 4 was, like, another, like, huge, like, honestly, like, another, like, huge, like, choice for people's favorites. But yeah, to be real, this one is probably, like, by far the most popular game on this list. The rest of these are, for the most part, like, pretty obscure. This one, not really obscure. And if I'm not mistaken, this is also Mega Man 4's first ever appearance in a Big 20. The other, like, 5 Mega Man NES games had showed up. The first 2, like, having shown up multiple times by now. This one, however, Mega Man 4, this is, like, the first ever appearance of 4 in the Big 20. I mean, it was still, like, fun to play, sure, but I still think I liked other games from the Big 20 list a little bit better. This one, I don't know, maybe just felt a bit overrated. Okay, well, I didn't even, like, talk about the goal for this game. I was talking about the game and also a bit of talking a bit about Rampart even after this run started. So, the goal for this one, obviously you don't want to die to Brightman or any other Robot Master. You don't want to die, obviously. The goal for Mega Man 4 was to beat 5 Robot Masters. Yeah, there's 8 to defeat, and then you also have to do, like, the Cossack and the Wily stages after that. But yeah, for Big 20 number 18. Yeah, for this game specifically, you had to defeat 5 Robot Masters if you're choosing. Once you know what to do, Brightman isn't too hard to really pin down with, like, a full health bar with just your default weapon. But I don't know why I had so much trouble with him on race day. Yeah, he has a special attack that can just freeze you in place. And pretty much just about every time he used that, he then just jumped on me, which was, like, his most devastating attack. Yeah, I got frozen in place again there, and then he just finished me off before I could actually do, like, another few hits on Brightman. So I died twice to Brightman, and both of those fights were very, very close. In fact, I was like maybe just like 2-3 hits away from getting him the first time, and then I died to him a second time. Yeah, just Brightman alone probably set me back at least a good minute and a half, if not closer to 2 minutes, just trying to take him down and dying twice in the process. I'm starting to think this is probably like, aside from maybe Tetris 2, the first game where I was starting to really struggle to go fast. Okay, maybe also Millipede was a rough one. But yeah, I think during, like, all of Race Day, during, like, the entirety of the marathon, I think this was probably the one game where I struggled the most, Mega Man 4. Yeah, opening up with 2 deaths to Brightman on 2 very close fights. That did not leave me feeling good about the rest of the run at all. That left me feeling absolutely terrible about what was to come up. So here, since I know I'm on my last life, I start with 3. I actually opted just game over on purpose here, in case, I don't know, I die halfway through Pharaoh Man stage somehow and game over there instead. I do that on purpose just in case, I don't know, I die once or twice in the middle of Pharaoh Man stage, so that I'll at least have a checkpoint to go back to. I mean, even though if I know what I'm doing still, it's pretty easy to just not die in Pharaoh Man stage, but I didn't really feel like risking it at that point. I felt like just minimizing the risk at that rate. Yeah, it's bad enough I already died twice to Brightman. Getting almost all the way through Pharaoh Man and then dying there, that would just make this even worse. Oh, I wouldn't want to risk that. You know, outside of just knowing, like, what order to fight the Robot Masters in, I don't even think I ever really consulted, like, too many walkthroughs for actually defeating all the bosses, and especially not getting through the levels. Okay, here I start taking a lot of damage for some dumb reason. And this was also, like, one of those games I never got, like, super good at before Race Day. Yeah, despite the fact I played, like, several other Mega Mans before this shouldn't be, like, too hard. I got, like, at least somewhat decently good at. I've definitely played my fair share of Mega Man before, but this is still one I kind of struggled with. To, like, really go fast. And in some cases, even just, like, defeat some of the bosses. I'm also trying to just be, like, extra careful with some of these platforming sections because I have also fallen on those instant kill spikes a few times. I've also died to those a few times as well in practice. So I'm just trying to make sure that doesn't actually happen on race day. So I'm just trying to, like, position myself, like, really carefully on some of these platforms before I jump. And yeah, the reason I went to Brightman first and then to Pharaoh is because, yeah, Pharaoh Man actually gets frozen in place by Flash Stopper. If you freeze him in just the right place, all you have to literally do at that point is just mash B. Yeah, at this point, all you have to do is mash the B button to beat him. I never really bothered to actually learn, like, his movement patterns. I just always froze him in place with the Flash Stop, and that was that. Apparently you can still, like, opt to do Pharaoh Man first, and the fight isn't that hard. I never did learn it, though. I just always did Brightman first, tried to learn that instead. And I try my hand at Ringman next. Because he's weak to Pharaoh Shot, the weapon that I just picked up off the previous Robot Master I beat. So I don't know why, but I find this stage to be a really long one. Considering like all the mini bosses you have to like just defeat along the way, I find this to be a really long stage. Wish I had to use Power Shot against some of them. Considering you just fire diagonally and just do a bunch of standing shots to hit this hippo. Which it should just go down after like 8 shots at that point. Also hoping to maybe get like a lucky drop, they just refill Power Shot if it shows up. Thinking, okay, maybe one of the enemies can still drop more ammo for Power Shot if I'm lucky. And then, yeah, had a pretty straightforward and simple strategy for the eyeballs. But, as you can see, this was, yeah, much better timing for the eyeballs, freezing the rings in such a way that the eyeballs won't be protected by the rings, and then you're just free to wail on the eyeballs until they're dead. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I do want to probably save some Power Shot for the actual boss. So I'll switch to Bright Man for, I guess, the second half of that hippo fight. Okay, there was a pickup for ammo, but it was a small one and it was kind of out of the way. Something that small is not likely going to make a difference. So I got Bright Man's weapon ready for the second set of eyeballs. Which actually I tried to force myself through the rings to try and do this a little bit faster, but then I realized, okay, this is a bad idea. Now I just took more damage for no good reason. So I have barely any health for Ringman. And I attempt the fight anyways with this very low amount of health. I attempt it anyways. And about half a tank of Power Shot to my name as well. I just immediately run into Ringman, and that's the end of that attempt. And the Power Shot that I used up, it still stays used up after that death to Ringman. So at this point, I actually run out of Power Shot. I get them very low on health, but I'm just not able to close the fight out because these rings just fly across the screen at 50 miles an hour and I'm struggling to dodge them. And I'm not able to close out the fight. I think I still give it a few attempts anyways with the default weapon, but I don't even get close on any of them, as you're about to see. Yeah, I'm trying to just wait for that second ring to just get caught by him again. No, it just throws another ring that I was just get hit by instead. Yeah, I don't want to jump because there's a ring above my head. But if I don't do that, if I don't jump, he'll just throw another ring at me and I'll take damage anyways. And I think it's safe to say I really just forgot how to dodge every single ring that gets thrown, which... at that point, I'm not gonna like be able to do damage faster than he can. If I can't dodge absolutely everything, there's no way I'm gonna outrace him here. Yeah, I tried to jump over him, the ring from before just hit me. In fact, I just died enough times that I game over. And yes, I have to replay the entirety of Ringman stage. I have to replay that from the beginning. This setting me back well over 5 minutes. just from running out of Pharaoh Shot and not really knowing how to dodge all the ring throws from Ringman. I don't think I'm really gonna have like too much to say right here, since I have to just run through the entirety of the stage. You've already seen me run through the stage, now I gotta do it again. But what I opt to do here is just use fewer Pharaoh Shots on the bosses. I know they died to like 4 Pharaoh Shot. No, I know they died to 8. Instead, I just opt to use like about 4 or something. Or I guess maybe 5. 4 to 5. And then I just use Brightman's Flash Stopper once to take off the remaining health from that hippo. Since I know for sure I'm gonna really need that Pharaoh Shot to just have an easy Ringman. Okay, I'll have to just wait for those rings to totally disappear just so I have as much health as I can for the boss fight at the end. Again, here I opt to use like, I maybe get this, maybe I get like all 4 shots to hit, yes I do. And then I switch back to this. And try and just do the remaining damage with 1 use of Flash Stop. That was a very small health pickup that fell down there. I didn't even bother grabbing it. Didn't grab that one either. Was another like, small one. Okay, then I got a 1-up, sure. But if I ran out of like Pharaoh Man ammo, then what's it gonna do for me? If I run out of ammunition that I need to kill a certain boss, what's that gonna do? So I think I at least get to this point with about, like... I get back to Ringman with half a health bar to my name. Certainly more health than the first go-around. And also... a little bit more Pharaoh Shot since I used less of it on the hippos on the way here. Thinking, okay, I really need this weapon for Ringman. I should not just use it, like, all on the hippos. Shouldn't do that anymore. And yeah, it's much better if you actually charge these Pharaoh Shots too, to actually kill him with. I think it takes about like 5 charged Pharaoh Shots to bring him down, which at that point makes for a very quick fight if they all land. Yeah, at that point you're doing like damage faster than he can, so that makes for a very quick and easy fight, even if you're only moderately competent at dodging the rings. And then, yeah, like, 8 minutes behind schedule, at least. At least 8 minutes behind schedule now. I defeated Ringman. And yeah, even before that, there were still, like, the 2 deaths to Brightman. Sure, I guess I'll take damage there. Okay, then this enemy just starts annoying me until I just hit it. So I'm trying to just be very careful with this platforming, just trying to make 100% sure that Mega Man will actually clear all these jumps. Just slowly inching my way to the edges of just about all these platforms, just to be 100% certain I will clear all the jumps there. I don't want to have, like, any, like, doubts about those jumps, considering missing one's just instant death. And this, too, if you get crushed by the blocks, between the blocks and the floor, that's also instant death. So I do opt to just play this a little bit conservatively, except for maybe, like, one section here. I think here is just... Here's the one part where I risk it, and I still actually squeeze through. And yes, I just got out Dustman's weakness, that being, like, the rings from Ringman. Which, again, makes for a pretty easy fight, even if I don't have, like, a full health bar going into it. And then with that Dust Crusher picked up, I go to Skullman because he's weak to Dustman's weapon. If there's any level that I found might have been, like, the easiest to just kind of run through, it was probably Skullman's. Being able to just use Brightman's Flash Stopper to get yourself through most of the level just really makes this trivial. Kind of like after a certain point I just spam the Flash Stopper to make this about as free as it gets. There's a lot of enemies that actually don't even spawn at all because the Flash Stopper is stopping them from even spawning in the first place. Also, I think these skull enemies, these skeletons, these robo-skeletons, when you defeat them, they could just stand back up after a couple seconds, but if you defeat them while, Flash Stopper's active, they're just gonna disappear, like, they're gonna disappear from the screen forever and not be able to respawn. I think, like, the one or two times I killed one of those without actually having any ammo for Brightman, I noticed that he was still on screen, and after a few seconds he stood right back up and just continued throwing bones at me. So yeah, with Flash Stopper, he's not gonna do that. Yeah, so enemies that simply aren't shooting in projectiles, some not even spawning at all while Flash Stopper's up. Yeah, that's what makes the level just as easy as it is. Yeah, just shoot him a few times and, don't even have to think about him again. And just run right through. And at that point, I'm already right in the corridor that leads to the boss room. But I do have to wait for the skull barrier to go away, and once it does, then I can just start shooting with the Dust Crusher and just doing pretty massive damage here. Again, getting a very quick fight. And this was the last Robot Master I had to defeat. But yeah, that entire Mega Man 4... Oh, no, that wasn't the entire Mega Man 4. That was just 5 Robot Masters, but that entire ordeal, that took me almost 24 whole minutes to just get. Yeah, Yeah, about like 23 minutes and 53 seconds or something that took. Best I've done was about like 16.5 minutes, give or take. And I finished 7 minutes behind that personal best of mine. So yeah, Mega Man 4 I think might have been like the roughest time loss for me personally in the entire like Big 20 marathon race. And I think that was probably the worst thing that happened to me in the whole race. The 2 deaths on Bright Man and the game over to Ring Man. Setting me back a good like 7 to 8 minutes or so. And then game number 11 for our Big 20 race was Fazanadu. Specifically, you get to put in a password. And yes, this is like an actual category on SRC, known as Aeolus Password. You are essentially allowed to use any password you want that gives you any combination of starting items and or stats for the main character that you like. So any combinations of items, weapons, magics, like levels, anything you want. Except you just have to start in the starting 10 of Aeolus. Other than that, everything else is fair game. So it takes roughly about a minute, to give or take, to enter in your password of choosing. And then there's just like... it's a 3-minute break instead of a 30-second break between games number 10 and 11. I guess you could just spend about a minute or so putting in the password, and then the other 2 minutes, that could just be a quick restroom break. Considering you've probably just been sitting there for about an hour and a half at least, at that point. Yeah, I get to take like a short break considering you've probably been playing for at least 90 minutes straight up to that point, maybe even longer. No, probably even longer if you're like me. So this break lasts about 15 more seconds, and then I just start up Fazanadu with the Aeolus password I have here. Specifically, this is not the world record password. This is not the one that the WR uses. This is a password that was created by someone who made a tutorial. Specifically, Songbirder made the tutorial and used this password. Which doesn't give you as much maximum running speed as the world record has, but it just lets you like have longer like wing boot durations. There are items called wing boots you can use to just hold up and A to just simply fly, until of course the power of the wing boots wears off. With this password that I use from Songbirder, these wing boots last about 40 seconds each. The password that the world record uses, which gives you more top speed, I think brings down the wing boot time to something about like 30 seconds or something. Yeah, here we run a bit slower than the world record password, but we have like more time to work with our wing boots. If we're not like super comfortable just really like maneuvering around enemies quickly. Oh, well, quite a few people did like this game with the Aeolus password, but I don't know, this game still felt a little bit too sluggish for my tastes. Like, you just have to, like, really frequently stop to deal with the enemies, and then kind of takes a while to just really get back to, like, full running speed. I mean, when you're not going fast, yeah, the game just feels really sluggish in my opinion. I don't know, I guess it's probably just like an acquired taste to get both good at running fast and just hitting the enemies. Probably got to play this for much longer than I have to really get a feel for it, to really get like comfortable with playing it quickly. I'm just gonna say, like, I never got super good at this. And there were just, honestly, in my opinion, I just liked a lot of the other games on this list better. don't know, I think I personally liked Millipede a little bit better, but a lot of the community didn't really like Millipede too much. Not because it was like super fast-paced, but mainly because it was just like too short. It really just felt like a category and a run that short. Millipede didn't exactly really need to be there in the first place. I mean, I still kind of liked Millipede, honestly, a little bit more than this. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still did not hate this game. Still a neat little game, but there were just so many other games in the list I liked even better than this one. Okay, Little is probably not, like, accurate. Little is not accurate. If you, like, don't know where to go, this is a pretty huge game. Or if you're not just starting with everything that you need to beat the game, then this is a pretty big game, I imagine. So yeah, still a like neat game, but I just liked a lot of the other ones better. Yeah, I was about to just stop myself when I said Little when I remembered. One of the runners who like, yeah, because we actually do have like a few runners like every Big 20 who literally just do the entire like list of 20 games or try to do the entire list blind. As in, they don't actually do like any practice or very little practice ahead of time, and they just kind of show up on race day and try and learn everything on race day. Infinite Mystery is one such person, and if I'm not mistaken, he has been doing this since the beginning of Big 20. Like, ever since the very first Big 20, he's always been there. He always just shows up right before, and yeah, especially on race day, to just run throughout the games. The kind of times he typically finishes with, if he finishes, are much, much, much slower than just about anything else the rest of us could, like, finish with, but yeah, in that case, it's just important to, like, make the distinction between, like, actually spending the 4 to 5 weeks, or maybe 6 weeks of time to practice, as opposed to just literally, like, showing up on race day with, like, no prior experience and just figuring out everything from 20 games all on the same race day. I mean, I guess, like, you can get help from chat, but still. I guess maybe, like, your viewers, like, watching your stream can help you out, but still. Yeah, actually, like, taking the time to, like, learn these games over the 4 to 5 weeks you get versus just running everything blind, the difference is night and day. I can only imagine the difference is night and day. I've never done a single Big 20 blind. I probably never will, but I can just imagine a few occasions during, at least, like, in this Big 20 that might have literally just made me, like, quit out of the race had I just encountered them blind, not knowing where to go or what to do. Yeah, for example, this really might have been a game that would have taken several hours, if not even more, for me to just do if I didn't actually know where to go to beat the game. Yeah, because this one took Infinite Mystery, yeah, because he was running the list blind for further context. It's important to just, yeah, it's very important to just emphasize that he was running this blind, because it took him well over 6 hours, maybe closer to 7. Don't ask why, this is just something Infinite Mystery enjoys doing. Yeah, super nice guy though, from what I hear from the rest of the community. Really nice guy though. And yeah, certainly willing to just put up with whatever the game has in store for him, like much longer than I certainly would. Yeah, judging by like how long some of his marathon attempts go. yeah, it's just he's willing to put up with these games for much longer than I am, like during a single play session. Like, I can assure you, I would still like not be like willing to play by the 30-hour mark. Like, I would just be like so done like long before then. Yeah, like literally the night before race day where I was just doing some like practice, like a full like practice run, I gave up at the 4-hour mark. Then again, it was 3 in the morning, so that's probably why I gave up. If it wasn't that late, I might have still kept on playing, considering there was only 2 goals left to finish by the 4-hour mark. Yeah, this password that I picked also gave me an elixir, so that if I would like run out of health, I could just go and pop that, use that, and full heal, and also get my magic restored. Which I also don't really use like too much. I'm mostly just trying to like, I'm mainly just trying to kill stuff with the sword. Because it feels like that just does more damage anyways. Or in some cases, maybe just like jump in such a way that I hit the right side of the enemy and I get boosted in the direction I want to go. Okay, I think at this point I'm getting pretty close at the end of the game. It definitely helps when you just start with all the items you need, and all you gotta do is just simply run across the map from Aeolus to like the final boss. That helps a lot. Okay, thinking about it now, I don't know if I never actually like confirmed if Infinite Mystery used the password or not. Or if they maybe just literally started the game with nothing, and yeah, at that point, you definitely wouldn't be beating this in about like 10 minutes if you literally just started the game fresh. Okay, that bee is getting annoying. Because I need to just get like a good running boost. I need to just get like top running speed to actually jump across those 3 blocks there with this guy. And this is the final dungeon. I think you could get maybe lost in here for hours if you don't know where to go. I mean, for one thing, this game doesn't come with a map, I don't think. Yeah, considering how this dungeon works, I think you just wrap around this dungeon endlessly. Yeah, I think some rooms just like wrap back around to like I don't know, like for example, like let's just say on the right side of the dungeon, you go off the right side of the screen, you wrap back around the far left side. And you could just go in circles for hours, potentially, if you don't know where to go here. But yeah, just following a tutorial, I'd know where to go. Yeah, as I was saying, I didn't hate Phazanadu. I just wasn't like as excited for that as I was for the other games for Race Day. This was a game I ended up really like just liking even less. Daydream and Davy. So, the story is not really relevant, but yeah, we're playing as this kid who just falls asleep in school, and yeah, it's in the title, Daydream and Davy. He daydreams in school. And in his daydreams, he explores the Middle Ages, which is just this forest, this kind of like ugly looking forest with music I didn't like. Yeah. But literally my first impression of this game, you have to press both A and B to jump. That's awkward as hell already. And that's the first thing you really gotta do to clear the first set of rocks. The graphics look kinda ugly. The music doesn't sound very good. This game looks like it sucks already. Yeah, I got like a pretty bad like first impression. And yeah, to be honest, in my opinion, the game's really not that good. I'm guessing it's kind of just here because, yeah, the staff really did want to, like, still pick games that haven't actually ever showed up in a Big 20 ever. I'm starting to think, yeah, like Big 20 staff are going to eventually want to try and get like every game that's ever been released on the NES library into one of these Big 20 marathons eventually. Even if we're going to have to like play some stinkers like Daydream and Davy. And then, yeah, the next thing I really had to worry about was not just like the awkward controls, pretty frequently getting stuck on trees, just accidentally touching trees and just like getting stuck on them for a bit. The next thing I had to really worry about was like, where the hell do I go on some of these levels? I can't really find any maps anywhere until I check like the Daydream and Davy channel on the Big 20 Discord server, and then I see like a complete map of the Middle Ages. And then from there, yeah, it's just much easier to actually know where to go when I can actually literally see the entire, like, first level all at once. Then just sort of make a path through it, and then I'll know exactly where to go now every time I play this. Won't get lost anymore. First boss should be coming up. I'll emphasize should, and he did show up. Yeah, let me emphasize the should, though, by the way. Now, before I start talking about the Old West, let me emphasize that first boss. Yeah, that first boss, that Dark Knight Lumper, usually does show up. I don't even know what the hell I did on one of my practice runs, but on one of my practice runs, the first boss literally didn't show up. The world record holder, both world record holder and somebody who has had a history with this game that's lasted over 10 years, has said, I have never in my life seen the first boss just simply not spawn before. I kid you not. Poison Curls, the guy with the world record for this, who's probably, you know, like, done speedruns of this, dating back to 10 years ago, had literally just told me he has never seen the first boss of the game just not spawn. And also, yeah, if you didn't know they had to, like, shoot that cowboy, like, that outlaw in the hand to just disarm him, you probably would have just died several times there. So yeah, I have to go buy a gun, go and go and defeat that criminal in the blacksmith's office. But you have to specifically shoot him in the hand with the gun. I mean, I don't know, first instinct, like, blow his face off, but no, that's not gonna work. But I haven't even started talking about this level, and I'm already going to do, like, a skip here that probably wasn't intended. This enemy right here is supposed to kill you very quickly, and supposed to not let you pass unless you have a shield to deflect his spears back at him. But if you know what you're doing, apparently it is also possible to despawn that enemy entirely, but I never figured it out. Though I was able to maneuver around him, it's just pretty risky, and if you don't feel comfortable doing that, because that enemy can very easily quickly kill you if you're not doing it just right. If you can't actually get past them, you'll just die, for sure. Otherwise, you could just go and get the shield as intended, which I didn't because you don't have to, like, you don't have to go and find the shield and then backtrack to that bridge if you don't get the shield. You save about a minute or so if you don't get the shield, but it's very possible to just die trying to not get the shield. Also, yes, this is the exact same map that level 1 had. We're basically back in the same forest that we started in. Which definitely made it, like, a little bit easier to, like, figure out where to go, because, yeah, this is, like, the exact same forest that the first level had. Yeah, same Middle Ages. Yeah, literally same map layout. So I know exactly where to go. I don't know, I just don't really have much to say at the moment. Aside from, I guess, like, how other people also react to this game being in a Big 20. Yeah, Prissy, who also, by the way, he didn't just win this Big 20, he absolutely dominated it. Prissy also just did, like, a post-race survey. He just asked pretty much all of us in the Big 20, like, NES community. He asked all of us, like, what our favorite games were, our least favorite games, our favorite music, favorite graphics, so on and so forth. And exactly 0 people stated that this was their favorite game of Big 20 number 18. Nobody, like, really liked this one. Myself included. I mean, although at least it was good for some funny moments. But that was about it. Yeah, a game like this can at least make for some funny moments, but I guess that's it. And now we are in Hades, complete with, yeah, the ground being made out of actual, like, human faces. Yeah, real sudden, like, shift in atmosphere here. When we go from, like, the Middle Ages to the Old West, back to the Middle Ages, and then back to ancient Rome, and now literally hell. with the floor made out of, like, bones and human faces. Yeah. What goes on in Davy's life to make him daydream like this? I don't know. You have to wonder what his life is like to actually have daydreams like this. I don't know how long it took for me to realize that you don't actually need the Cap of Hades to beat the Cerberus. It just makes you invisible, which makes the Cerberus shoot barely any fireballs at all because it can't even see you, making for a far easier boss, but as you can see, I'm not gonna need the Cap. Okay, I still do take some damage from some fireballs. Up until I get rid of the first head from Cerberus. And then, because I just realized that you can actually stand in very specific spots, because the fireballs will always travel in specific spots too, in such a way that Cerberus literally can't hit you. But the hitbox on the arrows are skewed to the left. But the fireballs aren't, so you can just do stuff like that, where, yeah, like, the boss literally can't hit you. And yeah, the goal for this was to beat Cerberus for Daydream and Davy. That was the goal. Just beat that boss. So, I don't even know for certain if you need the shield to beat the entire game, because I didn't even have to, like, care about the rest of the game. There's also, like, a spear you can pick up that you can maybe use on the Cerberus, and you really want to use on the Medusa boss that comes. You have to, like, visit, like, Hades again, but yeah, the game doesn't end when you beat Cerberus, but that's as far as you have to go for Big 20 number 18, so that's as far as I've gone. So I don't really know anything, like, I don't know anything that's gonna happen past that point, what I'm gonna need or what I'm not gonna need. So I wouldn't know if I actually need that shit or not to do, like, a full game playthrough. Just Cerberus, though? No, I don't. And then this right here is Neketsu Street Basket. You know, when the community was asked about, like, which games they liked the least, this was actually one of the games that they liked the least. Partly because the run is just so short, if all goes well, it's just over before, like, it really starts. Okay, this is actually another scoring goal. Actually, no, there were, like, at least 3 scoring goals up to this point, this being, like, the 3rd. Yeah, there was Light Force get 50,000 points, Tecmo Super Bowl, score 25 points, and then this one, score 50 points in a game of 2v2 basketball. Except, yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble actually scoring baskets. Also, it didn't help that a lot of the shots I was taking, despite the fact I picked my main character just as one that had, like, really good shooting accuracy, he still missed a lot of shots in this run. Yeah, the main character that I picked has, like, one of the best shooting accuracies in this game, but he still missed a lot of his shots. This one misses too, right? Yeah. If I was, like, not so, like, unlucky with a lot of the shots that weren't super shots, this would have probably been over a minute sooner, at least. And yes, super shots. When the ball turns blue, it just sort of, like, has that, yeah, like that. When the ball turns blue and just does that, that's a super shot. Every team has their, like, own unique, like, super shot animation, but... yeah, the blue ball with, like, the blue flame behind it, that's the US Navy's super shot. I mean, when you do that, you're guaranteed to at least get some points from the baskets. But you need to basically just hold B and then release it for, like, roughly 18 frames. There's a 4-frame window to get the super shots, which just guarantee that you're going to score points. And depending on where you throw them from, you can guarantee a lot of points per super shot. So basically, this entire Big 20 goal, this one goal, literally just boils down to just hold B for 18 frames exactly. Which, apparently that day, I sucked at holding B for 18 frames exactly. Okay, moving on to the game that actually glitched out on Nestopia. Pretty much, yeah, the graphics glitched out pretty badly on every section of the game that had a vertical scrolling. So I had to switch emulators, or just adapt to, like, glitchy looking level layouts. I figured I'd just switch emulators, it's just easier on the eyes. So this is what I think might be, like, the hardest game on the Big 20 list. Somebody else might have other opinions, but I personally would go as far as to say this is the hardest game that this list had to offer, by quite a wide margin. Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, full game. And you can also have, like, scenes on, but yeah, at that point you just have to, like, actually sit through some story. Which involves Indiana Jones, like, having to go retrieve some artifact back in Mexico, enlisting to fight in World War I, going to France, and then going to Germany to go and defeat this enemy that has, like, a secret base, and they're gonna try and just unleash poison gas to kill a bunch of people. But yeah, we just skip over all the cutscenes because we have to just beat the game as fast as possible, so we don't have time to watch story. I mean, we could, but we want to, like, get as fast as time as possible, so we're not gonna watch the story, like, during the marathon. So really, what makes this game so hard? If you look at the top screen, I actually had a hat at one point. I took a hit and then lost it, which is your quote-unquote armor in this game. If you take damage again while you have a weapon, you lose that weapon! You literally just go down to having to punch with your fists. And if you get hit again when you have no weapon, yeah, that's just death. And it is very, very, very hard to fight back if you have only your fists. You have to get right up in the enemy's face to actually damage them with only your fists, which just opens you up to just getting killed that much easier. Like, you really, like, want to get a projectile weapon in this game and just not lose it. And even then, it's still honestly a pretty tough game. Yeah, going into this, like, having never played it before, like, this probably has to be, like, in my opinion, the single hardest game in this list. None of these other games literally just take your weapon away if you get hit just once. Just once! Or unless you pick up a piece of armor, so yeah, you also want to know where all the armor is. Grab every single piece of it unless you're really comfortable with some sections of the game. So yeah, this is basically one of those don't get hit games. Or in other words, this is probably just one of the most punishing games, if not the most punishing game by far when it comes to just making very simple mistakes. Like that right there. And now I gotta just survive for a bit with only my fists. Until I find the next weapon, of course. I guess at least there's still, like, several opportunities for weapons, like, throughout the game as you go, but still. It's still absolutely brutal when you think about it. Just how a single hit can just take you down to your fists. No matter how good you were doing up to that point. And yes, yeah, it's a full game goal. And even level 1 is brutal when you don't know what to expect. Even level 1 is absolutely brutal. Yeah, apparently ABGN also had like a quick segment where he just reviewed this game and he said, this is the worst NES game. No, not the worst NES game. This might be the worst Indiana Jones game on the NES. Yeah, I actually found the transcript for the episode where he reviewed this game. Yeah, I found the episode where he reviewed this. He reviewed a bunch of Indiana Jones games, said this one is the worst one out of all of them, or it might be the worst one. And I also found the transcript. This is the worst Indiana Jones game of all! This is below any human standard of decency! I can't even believe this is real! Why'd they make level 1 so difficult? Right out of the gate, this game bullies you relentlessly. How are kids supposed to play this? There's games that just suck, but then there's games that seem to be made with ill intent. Like this was just designed to punish your soul as if someone hates you. Well, fuck them. They don't allow you to make any mistakes. You might be having a near flawless run, but oops, you get hit. And then you're dead to your fists, which is useless. You come to a wall of gun turrets like the Contra level 1 boss. Good luck trying to punch that thing. I've given every ounce of my gaming spirit, and I can't beat level 1! And yes, to be real, this game is almost as hard. I wouldn't say like as bad as he's making it sound, but almost as hard as he's making it sound. Consider just how like one simple mistake just about anywhere can really set you back. Can turn like, just really turn the tides like that like harshly against you. I mean, the one saving grace that actually made this game beatable is that a lot of the enemy patterns, once you like figure them out, they're very predictable. And yes, you do see like a lot of the same enemies and their patterns are just repeated. So yeah, once you actually figure out a bunch of predictable enemy patterns, once you actually like figure out how they're gonna try and attack you, they're that much easier to actually just counter. Like once you actually know what they're gonna do. But if you don't, oh dear goodness, if you don't know what's gonna happen ahead of time, if you don't know what's coming, you are gonna get your ass kicked so many times over, it's not gonna be funny. You are gonna get utterly destroyed by this game if you don't know what to expect. My first time actually trying to just put together a run in practice, France was just completely and utterly destroying me. Mainly the sections with the falling mortar shells, because, like, do you see just how fast some of those fall? That is ridiculous. Which is why I try and just slow down and just kind of wait for them to fall and then just back up if it feels like it's going to be close to me. But once I really just got past the mortar shells, the rest of the enemy patterns weren't too bad once I learned them. Yeah, this game is brutal, but it's still very learnable. It's still very doable. Yeah, it's still a very brutal speedrun. And now I gotta scale some waterfall here. Just like that, one silly little mistake, I just lost my piece of armor, so now I really don't want to make another mistake here. And now I'm down to my fists, which is almost useless. It's doable. I think everything is doable with just your fists, but you really don't want to be stuck with just your fists. You do not want to be stuck with this. You also would much prefer like a projectile attack, to be honest, over your whip. I mean, I usually just about like always prefer a projectile myself, just to make things easier. I mean, some people could probably just get even further with the whip, but I would rather just, at any moment I could, take a projectile. So I could just have an easier time just staying as far away from the enemies as possible. But on this like waterfall stage, I'm not really like aware like where there's like a weapon with a projectile attack. There's only just like another whip in case like you lose the one that you started with. So I was able to at least still like sort of get decent enough at this level whip only. I just have to figure out a bunch of safe strategies to make this really easy once you actually know what to do. Yeah, a game like this really just requires you to have, like, pretty much a solid method for, I don't know, just about everything. You really need to put together, like, a solid game plan for just about everything here. Otherwise, you're gonna get your ass kicked. There's no other way around it. And now I'm up to this tank boss here, which you actually need to jump on these platforms so I can actually toss grenades at the weak point. Okay, I guess this was like the... I guess this was the run where I actually had some trouble fighting it. I'd accidentally just miss the next platform that I want to land on, and actually just run off into the hole and die. Yeah, ideally, you just want to like run off the left side of one platform, and then just immediately turn around, like start falling to the right, and then just land on the next one. But like quite a few times, I'd accidentally just like miss the platform below me and just fall in the hole and die. Yeah, like that. I'd run back a bit too far, I'd miss the second platform, and then I'd just fall and die. And then yeah, I died twice here. I mean, you could still like opt to wait for the next platform after the one below you, if you don't mind having an even slower tank kill. But I mean, I'm still trying to just go as fast as possible here. I don't find it like too hard to just fall from one platform to the next. And by that point, now the tank's been defeated. And now we're on to Germany. Which might have had like some of my favorite music, like just not just like in this game, but like in just about like yeah, across like all the 20 games, like some of my favorite like music tracks that I got to hear while just learning all 20 games were like from some of these like Germany stages. Apparently like some of the other runners had much better luck with this train stage with their whip, with the whip than the gun, but I personally just found it much easier with the gun. This boss I found like a really like easy to exploit pattern. You'll throw 2 boxes at a time. You always duck under the first and jump over the second. And then as the second goes off screen, you just shoot 1 bullet. And then you rinse and repeat this 5 times and then the fight's over. That seemed easy enough, and then you got to the plane section. And then you got here. And then suddenly the rules of the game changed quite a bit. Aside from you barely being able to take any hits, the rules of the game changed quite a bit here. And some of these enemy planes move ridiculously fast. Again, the only saving grace, the only like real like reason I actually like was able to do this in the first place is because it's always the same movements from these enemy planes every time you play this stage. Sure, they move ridiculously fast, but they'll always like have the same patterns every time you play this. Which actually made it not too hard to just defeat like the first 10 planes to show up to make it to the boss fight. Which this also just has like, this also just repeats the same movements over and over again in a nice like predetermined cycle. And yes, you can just like hover underneath those bullets and just get in quite a bit of damage, like when the plane is not moving at all and trying to shoot you. So when you know exactly what the plane's gonna do, it's just not too hard to defeat it, let alone defeat it quickly. But when you don't, again, just like the rest of the game, it's completely like, it's just an utter nightmare when you don't know what to expect. So there's a dog here that I'm trying to just despawn. Because it's tough to jump over without getting hit, and no matter how many times you shoot it, yeah, for some reason that dog doesn't die no matter how many times you shoot it, so I was just finding it easier to try and get it close to the right side of the screen and despawn it there. rather than try and jump past it or have it jump over me, because the dog can also move pretty fast. I try, yeah, just force a despawn. So full game runs of this, I don't know, they tend to last about like 15 to 20 minutes. I guess for like just the average player. Well, average player, probably above average at that point if you're still beating this in under 20 minutes. Yeah, then like, yeah, but as far as speedrunning the game goes, like 15 to 20 minutes is roughly like the average time you'd expect to see. Really, like, fast speedruns get under, like, well under 15 minutes. In fact, the world record is, like, about 11.5 or something. Which I have no idea how even, like... Which I have no idea how that happens, doing this in about, like, 11.5 minutes. I have no idea how. Yeah, because I have to just go open some gates. But no, really, like, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be able to, like, tell if this was, like, the worst out of all the Indiana Jones games. It might very well be, like, the hardest one. I'm willing to bet it's probably not the worst one, though. It's maybe like one of the most stupidly difficult ones, but it is learnable. In the same sense that games like Castlevania and Ninja Gaiden are learnable. Absolutely punishing for just some of the slightest mistakes, but a lot of the enemies have like very predictable patterns you can exploit to just get through the games much, much easier once you know what the hell's going on. Yeah, this is very similar, like, in a way. Like, the difficulty of this, in my opinion, feels very similarly structured to games like Castlevania in the sense that it's definitely learnable, but yeah, it definitely requires some skill to, like, figure out everything. And if you don't really figure out, like, just about everything, you're probably not gonna get too far. It's not like, yeah, basically we're talking about games where you can't really just, like, expect to run through, like, without a real game plan and just get through, like, no problem. There's definitely, like, a lot of occasions where you need, like, a really solid, like, method to just guarantee you're gonna get through. Like, you need to come up with very solid strategies and methods for just about, like, every encounter here to really get through the game. No problem. So for just about, like, every enemy, like, I had to think, like, okay, how do I want to approach this? Yeah, for just about everything, I was like, okay, what's the safest strategy to just effectively take it out? I don't remember exactly how long it took for me to realize you can jump over the guy with the torch. Rather than just, like, shoot him and then make his torch fall, and if it hits the ground, just sets the floor on fire. Or you can just run, like, far enough to the left to just actually despawn that torch entirely. But it's even faster to just jump over them entirely. So I'm on my way to the final boss. I was just making sure to also have, like, a piece of armor equipped, just in case I somehow get hit on the way here. Because I mean, you could technically beat it without the help of the grenades, but you really want to have, like, the grenades for this boss. In fact, if you stood exactly where I stood, just throw grenades upwards. That's pretty much, like, one of the freest bosses you're ever gonna fight. You literally don't even have to move from that spot if you stand on the absolute edge of that ledge there. And you can just throw grenades upwards and they'll just barely hit the final boss. And yeah, it'll take only 4 grenades to bring that down, whereas I think with like your whip or fists only, I think it's at least like 8 hits or something. And without a projectile weapon, you also have to just ride these platforms and dodge projectiles while you're riding these platforms. Like, when I said, like, I've never defeated this final boss without the help of the grenades, I'm not kidding. So I really had to be, like, 100% certain I was going to have the grenades for that boss, or I was going to be, like, really in deep trouble. And then, what comes after that? Jurassic Park. Beat Stage 4. That comes after. This right here was, like, actually the last game I figured out how to do, like, not a full run of, but the first 4 levels. This was, like, the last game that I solved. So yeah, up to this point, before actual race day, I'd only done a single, like, run of the first 4 stages from, like, start to finish. I mean, of course I was doing, like, just individual section practice, trying to just figure out each section individually, like, piece by piece, before actually stringing it all together in, like, one, like, single session of the first 4 stages. Which, before race day, I had done that exactly once. That took me 41 minutes. Mainly because I game overed several times in levels 3 and 4. At least on race day, I don't even think I game overed once, so I was able to just bring that down to a little bit more respectable time of, I think, 21 minutes or something. Yeah, here too, just like Young Indy, like, the enemy spawns are predictable. Some of the enemies can be a little scary. Yeah, some of them can be, like, really dangerous, like somewhat large raptors that can just really quickly decimate your health bar, but just about, like, I think, yeah, literally every enemy in the game is gonna spawn in the same place every time, so it's just a matter of getting really good at kind of just shooting in the general, like, location where the enemy's gonna be before the enemy has a chance to really strike. Yeah, I remember that raptor was gonna be there, so I just got ready to start shooting at it, like, immediately. And then those question blocks, not to be confused with the question boxes from Mario or anything. Those may, like, have health pickups, those may damage you, those may just outright kill you, those may give you invincibility. I mean, you won't know exactly which is which until you either pick it up or just go consult the walkthrough, which actually shows, like, what is in every box, because if a box gives you health on one playthrough, if you touch a box and it gives you health, that box will always just give you health, like, no matter, like, how many times you play through the game. Like, the pickups, like, in these mystery boxes never actually get shuffled, like, between playthroughs. Any box that healed you will always heal you. And then any box that did damage will always damage you, no matter how many times you play through this. So yeah, just if you look up a strategy guide that can just obviously, like, tell you what's in every box, then you'll know which boxes to go for and which ones to avoid. Except I wasn't even 100% sure, like, what was in every box. I mainly just tried to remember which ones healed you and just, yeah, like, gravitated towards those. And anything I wasn't certain about, I just wouldn't pick up. I mean, if I'm good enough at the game, I shouldn't really need to pick up, like, too many health pickups anyways, or anything else. Alright, and then here's the Triceratops Stampede. Here you just have to, dodge the Triceratops, just walk around them all. even when they're taking up like more than half the screen, making it rather difficult to do so at times. Yeah, definitely had to just practice this a few times to get comfortable with it. Yeah, sure, you're playing as Alan Grant, but your friend over here, I don't exactly remember his name, but your friend over here, the two of you share a health bar for this Triceratops Stampede. So you have to avoid, like, obviously, you have to avoid taking damage, and your friend also has to avoid taking damage as well, so... You gotta lead both yourself and your friend, like, away from these dinosaurs. And, yeah, near the end there, I started struggling to do that. Alright, so on to level 2. And in case you're wondering what the objectives are for screens like this, it's just like, either pick up or shoot at every dinosaur egg. Easier said than done unless you're really good at making precise shots with your gun here. Still something I never got super comfortable with. And here, there's a lot of dangerous... Yeah, danger. Yeah, this is certainly a dangerous area, alright. Features quite a few raptors, and this one I wasn't even prepared for. Yeah, there were 3 eggs in that room, and I just shot them all in such a way that I wasn't going to spawn any more enemies in that room. Okay, now this dinosaur is giving me trouble as well. I'm trying to get rid of that one, also. There was also, like, a hidden invincibility pickup back there behind that tree. Or behind those bushes, I should say. 2, like, giant raptors hiding behind that door frame there. Trying not to get hit by other one. And then after that encounter with the raptors, you get to this very, very awkward controlling boat. You get this boat that handles really terribly. I thought this section was going to be even harder when I first played it. This boat handles like really janky in my opinion. In fact, some of these obstacles I'm not even sure how you dodge, but thankfully they don't just insta-kill you, so I guess it's not all bad. Yeah, safe to say still, this section could have been a lot worse. You can get hit by like quite a few obstacles and you'll still be alive if you had like full health coming into this. I don't know how I'm not even sure how I dodged those logs there. Don't ask. Don't bother asking. And then, alright, coming up to the T-Rex boss. Which, thankfully, if I'm not mistaken, it does, like, the exact same movements every time you fight it, so that just makes it a lot more predictable. Makes it pretty easy to just kill it in, like, just a few cycles of it just trying to attack you. When you know exactly where it's gonna go every time. Makes it that much easier to just sort of, like, get in position and just start firing with your best bullets available to just get a quick kill on it. I'm just checking to see if that egg was already destroyed. Okay, I missed that. I'm gonna try and shoot it again. Missed again. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm definitely not the best shot here. It was definitely not the best shot on race day. In case you're wondering why I'm also jumping so much as I move, if I'm not trying to shoot or anything, it's because it makes you go slightly faster if you just jump repeatedly as you move. I don't even know how much time this has managed to save me over the course of a whole run. Probably nothing too significant, but I mean, if you could just maybe like squeeze out a few seconds here and there, might as well. Might as well do it. If I'm not mistaken, I still gotta run all the way back to that first building I started in front of. I mean, I barely had any time to really spend with this game, but it's still definitely... I mainly just liked it for the music. Yeah, for all 4 stages that I had to play, this game had amazing music for all of them. And then when I just remembered that Ocean published it, it all made sense. Okay, that explains why the music is so amazing. Ocean published it. That explains everything. Yeah, it definitely feels like... Yeah, it definitely feels like tough to really, like, handle Grant here at first. Yeah, controlling definitely feels like tough to control Grant adequately at first. Probably really have to play this for a bunch to get good at shooting. And then some of the enemies can just get really cheap shots in on you. But then again, like, you can just... If you can remember exactly where they're gonna spawn, it should make them that much easier to deal with. Because, like, the enemy spawns are not... They're not spawning in random places. Like, if you could just, like, remember and, like, learn where they're going to spawn, making them that much easier to deal with. Like, if you know where it's gonna be, you can pretty much that much easier just, like, shoot it ahead of time before it even gets a chance to kill you. Alright, once we get into this much larger building, we have to interact with a bunch of computers. We have to interact with 8 computers in a very specific order to beat the level. And deal with a few, like, really scary enemies the whole way through. I mean, once I get into this building, I don't find it, like, too hard to survive. There's maybe, like, a few larger enemies, like... I don't know what those dinosaurs are that spit stuff at you, but... There's also, like, a few raptors here and there. And then these, like, smaller dinosaurs really aren't too much of a problem. They might just swarm you, and that's about it. Or if they are giving you trouble and there's only maybe like 1 or 2, you just suck at shooting, I guess. And that's the 3rd computer. I think this was like the 4th or 5th computer. No, I think it's the 4th, and I had to just double back again to get to the 5th one. I don't know, the running around... Eventually, yeah, the running around this stage just honestly got a little bit annoying when you think about it. Yeah, this gets a little bit annoying when you think about it. Just all the backtracking you're gonna have to do to just actually use the computers in the right order here. You gotta do a lot of back and forth for some of these. I think the 6th one that I need to use was in this room. Yeah, it was in this one. And then, yeah, like, right near the entrance was the 7th one. And then just had to do a little bit more backtracking to actually just finish the level. I'm pretty sure the one on the left does damage, the one on the right heals you. So obviously I went to grab the one that heals. And there should just be a little bit more running back. I gotta run back through this hallway as well. Just a little bit more running back. This should be over soon, I promise. And then there's gonna be stage 4 I have to play through. In case you're wondering, like, why this is one of the longer goals of this Big 20, this is what part of the reason why. Now we're playing level 4. I'm also trying to not pick up that, because I vaguely remember that box also just doing damage to you. If not, just outright killing you, so that's obviously something I wouldn't want to pick up. Okay, this was where I had to go next. Another part that made this like a little bit difficult for me, just figuring this game out, was remembering exactly where to go for all of these levels. And just trying to like not get like too lost while trying to find the eggs, and also not accidentally like missing one, because I think maybe at least once or twice in practice I might have missed an egg or two. And then you have to literally go just search through the entire level again just to figure out like where's the one egg that you missed. And yeah, that would be like, yeah, which would be extremely annoying, by the way. Okay, it's this building that has the explosives I need to go pick up. And then once you pick these up, you have to take them into like 3 different volcanoes and just set the explosives. You still have to go and pick up and or shoot all the eggs in each of those volcanoes first before you can actually set the explosives. And then once you do, you have to just get out of there before the timer hits 0. I figured, I don't know, I'll just grab some more bullets. And then once that is set, for this specific like volcano, you have like 10 seconds to leave it. Then again, I'm already trying to go as fast as possible anyways, so probably shouldn't be too hard to just make it out before the time runs out. I'm already trying to just beat the game as fast as possible, or the first 4 levels of it anyways. This one's quite a bit bigger than the first one. And then at this point, yeah, I need to just now get out of this volcano in 30 seconds. Despite the raptors just trying to kill me on the way out. So obviously I want to just like remember exactly where they are, have my best bullets ready to just shoot them down as they show up. Including this one that's literally just obscured like behind the terrain. Which is, yeah, probably like one of the few complaints I really have with this game. Not so much the controls, like you can get good at, you can get good at controlling Alan Grant here. It's just sometimes some of the enemies are literally obscured by the terrain, which I find annoying. And yeah, as for the random pickups, they're not actually random, they just won't tell you if they're like health pickups or anything that'll kill you. You'll just have to find out the hard way or just go look up a strategy guide. At this point, I'm just waiting for the last set of explosives to go off. And then at that point, yeah, that's the end of level 4 and the end of, specifically in Big 20 number 18, Jurassic Park. Because that was the goal. And then, yeah, it was time for me to move on to the next game. Adventures of Lolo 3. Specifically, for Big 20 number 18, you start at, like, yeah, you start at, like, World 6 or something. You have to do, like, Stage 6, and all 6 rooms of Stage 6. And unlike, like, previous Big 20s where there was, like, just, like, only one extended break, like, right between, like, games number 10 and 11, there was an extended break between, like, Jurassic Park and this game. Instead of a 30-second break, it's extended to a 1-minute break. That being to just have enough time, for sure, to input the password, to just get yourself to start level 6. Just to be 100% sure everyone would have enough time to put that password in. So yeah, this is a puzzle game. Yeah, I was about to start talking about the tiles already. And the half tiles. Because yes, this is a puzzle game that also just incorporates not just like tiles, but half tiles. As you're gonna see, you can put like several objects in between like 2 individual squares on each of these maps here. And you can also just stand like in between like 2 squares or whatnot. So yeah, particularly for like level 6, it's just a matter of getting these enemies, known as Rockies, I think that's what they're called. Getting them to move in such a way, setting them up in such a way that the Medusa heads that would otherwise just shoot you for picking up all the hearts you have to pick up can't shoot you. And there's 6 of these levels you gotta figure out. I'm thinking I made a mistake here. And then I'm just trying to figure out what to do to, like, correct it. Yeah, apparently here I started to have, like, a lot of difficulty just actually dealing with all the enemies. And then decide to just reset that room entirely. Figured at that point it'd be easier. Yeah, because that Rocky on the right side of the screen, he kept getting him away, just stopping me from moving, like, where I need to move. Alright, and I forgot that I forgot to move a block to just block off a Medusa head. There was another step of that puzzle I completely forgot. And yes, as you can see, like, that pink ball is in between, like, 2 squares. This tile also into 2... That green, like, that green square also between, like, 2 tiles. So the intended solution was that right there, to not get killed by the Medusa head, picking up either heart there. And And then level 3 is maybe, like, the part where I would have imagined myself getting, like, completely and utterly stuck if this was a blind playthrough. Yeah, if this was a blind playthrough, I think I would have been, like, completely stuck here. I mean, like, how am I supposed to know, like, I push, like, one of the Rockies off the screen, then it just rematerializes in the bottom right corner? Like, how would I know that? And then I just realize I'm, like, out of, like... And then I just realize I can't shoot any more pink balls, so I have to just reset the puzzle. And then I realized I was supposed to have, like, 2 after respawning this Rocky in the bottom right. So I had to start over, because I could no longer do the intended solution. And again, using these pink balls to just stop the Medusa heads from being able to shoot me while I pick up some of those hearts there. So I can actually grab them without just getting insta-killed. Alright, I screwed up literally one of the last things in this puzzle. The orb get. I literally just completely failed the orb gets because that green box, I forgot to put it in the right place. I put it in the right place on the first go around, but on the second go, I completely forgot to throw it in the right spot. So when it was time to actually go and grab that final orb, the way I usually do it, it was no good. I completely forgot about the top Medusa head, and it just was able to kill me. So yeah, here too I lost quite a bit of time over my personal best, which I think was about like 4 minutes and 16 seconds or something. Yeah, I think on race day low 3 took me about 7.5. So yeah, I think about like roughly 3 minutes of time lost, give or take, from these mistakes I made on these puzzles. Yeah, I think this set me back about 3 minutes on race day. I don't know, this was also like another of those games I was kind of just dreading having to replay on race day. I was honestly not so sure if I was like ever the biggest fan of these kinds of puzzle games. I mean, like, if you want like variety, like, definitely include something like this, sure, but this was probably like one of the games I wasn't like looking like so much forward to. I mean, of course I'm still gonna play it though on race day. And here I'm just trying to make sure I do this all in such a way that that Rocky won't just push me either to the very top or very bottom of that screen, where, again, a Medusa head can just kill me instantly. Okay, then here's the level with all the lava. So you have to just temporarily place this bridge there, and also have that pink ball pushed up to where I put it, so that... Put that pink ball where I put it, so again, yes, you can grab that heart without the Medusa head at the very top of the screen just killing you. And now I'm trying to just make sure this Rocky isn't going to just block me if I go to this bottom left corner, that I'm not going to get blocked on the way there. Because if you set this up wrong and then the Rocky just runs all the way down the screen, and then it just blocks you in the bottom left corner, you just have to restart the puzzle at that point, if you set it up wrong. And then after those 5 like screens of puzzles, then you just get like a straightforward boss fight, where you just have to defeat the giant Rocky by hitting it enough times with, yeah, your... I'm gonna call it the pink ball attack, I don't know what else to call it. After like 5 puzzle levels, you get like a perfectly straightforward boss fight. And then after that... Is Is this my favorite game in this Big 20 list? It might be. I think this was probably one of my favorites, honestly, if not my favorite game on the list. Even if it's another homebrew, so it came out, like, well after all the other NES games have really come out. You know, this came out, like, again, well after the NES games that came out when the system was actually, like, current. So again, just like homebrews, it was definitely made for the NES hardware, but yeah, this came out like way after the NES era. I don't know, it just feels like really like people who make these games, like the games that came out like later down the road, like way past the NES era, just feels like they seem to be like more like well done overall. Yeah, it just feels like with like more time that had passed, like it was just more likely that whoever was making these was gonna like know what they were doing. Yeah, as I was saying, it just feels like the games that come out later, like more or less like the devs know what they're doing. So yeah, this one right here, this one's a platformer. So far, we'll just say it's a platformer. That plays a lot like Mega Man. Yeah, because this character runs around and he shoots projectiles, much like Mega Man does. And Metroid, as you'll see, because you can also just find items that basically like permanently increase your like capabilities to just explore the map. You have like the same sort of exploration you have like in Metroid, where you just have this like just giant world you have to go explore, like find your way through. Yeah, it's definitely like Metroid in that sense, with this giant like one giant world you gotta explore. And the power-ups you can find that just increase your like abilities to like, I don't know, jump higher is one example that's gonna show up, which lets you now reach new areas that you otherwise couldn't before. Yeah, just like Metroid in that sense. Finding things that let you reach new areas, give you like new like special like capabilities. And also I wanna be the guy with these like one-screen layouts. And maybe also the graphical style as well. I mean, I didn't personally see like too much of the resemblance to I Wanna Be the Guy because, yeah, unlike that, I mean, yeah, like this, unlike that, like not everything is trying to just kill you in the cheapest way possible. And yeah, I Wanna Be the Guy, they probably have like even more checkpoints to accommodate for the fact that it's just the game just comes up with all these crazy like cheap ways to kill you. I mean, I guess, like, to be fair, this also does have, like, the fruits that fall upwards in one instance of the game. Yeah, it starts with some yellow fruits that fall down, and then there's a green fruit that just falls up. And I'm pretty sure, like, I Wanna Be the Guy did something like that, at least, as well. Alright, so there's another boss. But it's still not the last boss you have to fight for Big 20 number 18. Yeah, because the goal here, for Battle Kit at least, the goal here was to get the first key. There's keys you can pick up that just let you destroy, like, the blocks with the Roman numerals on them, like... I've seen at least like one block with the Roman numeral 4 on it, so there must be at least 4 keys. Definitely, like, at that point you can imagine you can just imagine like the scale of this game, just how big it must be. You can just imagine like how big like full game must be. Because here you don't gotta do full game, you just have to get to the first key. Which even on a good day, that's still gonna take me about like a little under 9 minutes on a really good day. But apparently that can be done in even, like, under 7.5 if you really know what you're doing. The fastest someone got the first key, like, I think was 7 minutes 25 seconds or something, and I think probably was Prissy. Yeah, Prissy was honestly, like, he was, like, long done by now at this point. Yeah, at this point, Prissy almost finished, like, almost 30 minutes ago. He finished while, like, I was in the middle of that, like, rowboat section in Jurassic Park. So I think that was about, like, 2 hours, 39 minutes in or something he finished. Yeah, absolutely insane when you think about it. And when we were all practicing, when I was just looking at everybody else's, like, spreadsheets to see, like, how fast everyone was going, I immediately just noticed that Prissy had, like, at worst, like, rank 5 amongst, like, every one of the 20 games that we had to run. Like, his worst placement for probably any of those games was, like, rank 5. He had, like, several, like, first place times, second place, and third place times. And, like, a few fourth and fifths. Like, at worst, like, for every one of those 20 games, he was top 5. Let that sink in. And second place finished, like, almost 10 minutes behind him. Let all that sink in. And yes, Pikachu and Overstorm, they're still, like, very far ahead of the game. Still very far ahead of the rest of us. For this race, second and third respectively. I think both of those runners still also got, like, times well under the 3-hour mark. I think, like, maybe I don't remember if, like, all the top 5 got, like, sub 3 hours. I sure as hell didn't. I sure as hell couldn't do it. Yeah, by that point, I still had, like, this and 3 other games to go. One of which I was expecting to take me about, like, 15 to 20 minutes just to beat. But yeah, I still did, like, pretty good for someone who's literally never played the game before. I still did pretty good at Battle Kid, also on race day as well. Still put up a pretty respectable time for someone who's never played this before. Made, like, very, very few mistakes on actual race day. Very few stupid deaths on parts that weren't too hard. Okay, there was like... That was actually, I think, my only death in, like, the entirety of this Battle Kid playthrough. That was the one place I think I died the whole way through. Up until Key 1, which is where we need to stop. Look, I know I said it was probably not to go, like, dabble further into Battle Kid, but... Look, I know I played more Rampart first. I know I threw myself into Rampart before that, but yeah, one of these days, I'm gonna want to do, like, full Battle Kid speedruns. But not to mention the music's amazing. Especially what was playing just, like, 5 seconds ago. Yeah, not to mention the amazing soundtrack. And just, like, the ease of control. The, just... similarity in gameplay to, like, yeah, a franchise I really much enjoy, that being Metroid. It's like, how could I not want to go back to this? This game has just about everything I want. How can I not come back to this later? This is, like, just about literally everything I could ask for here. Okay, that looks like about 9.5 minutes. I almost completely forgot about this one. I don't know, this just feels like, personally for me, one of the more forgettable like games in this list. This racing game here. Even though it definitely had some fun moments. Yeah, still like, I still can't believe that airplane showed up trying to literally just drop bombs on us while we were driving like not just one but two races. We literally had like we literally had an airplane show up trying to just drop bombs on us. Not just any airplane, it looked like this vintage one that showed up in like World War I or II. I don't know what business you have trying to like bomb us while we're just driving race cars here. So yeah, as you just do your races, you ideally want to win them, get more money by doing so, which you need to just buy upgrades for your car so you can just keep up with the other racers who are just going to get faster and faster as the game progresses. And yeah, that name of NES, if you put that in, you just get like 4,000 extra dollars to start with. So yeah, $5,000 to put towards your car as opposed to like the standard 1,000 if you just, yeah, NES is your name. Which, of course, I'm gonna do that since I'm not, like, too familiar with this game. Yeah, like, literally, like, before before race day. Or, not before race day, but before, like, even... before seeing what the games list was. This was I literally never played before, so... again, I'm gonna want just about, like, every advantage I can give myself. Probably not gonna be too familiar with this because, yeah, before the reveal, like, I literally never even heard this game, let alone played it. But even then, still, like, the first few tracks, still very easy to consistently get first place on them, even if you're not, like, really good at the game. Even if you're like me, just not super good at this. But one thing I still absolutely want to do just before race day hit was just quickly, like, go back through this game. Even just watching, like, a complete run of it, like, all the tracks that I'm probably gonna have to play to meet the requirements of getting 80 points. Okay, I guess there are actually plenty more scoring goals than I thought in this Big 20. Yeah, I get 80 points. If you can just do the first 8 tracks, like, first place on the first 8 tracks all in a row, because each first place finish is worth 10 points, then there would be your 80 points right there. Otherwise, you might have to maybe also play the 9th track as well to just close out the 80 points if you can't just do, like, perfect races for, like, 8 tracks in a row. Yeah, because eventually it gets a little bit more difficult to actually just consistently first place. Yeah, because the opponents do get, like, ever so slightly faster. Just like this other racing game that I had to play for Big 20 number 16, that being Super Sprint. Eventually went from opponents literally just going on their Sunday drive as opposed to, like, actually driving in a competitive race setting, to opponents that literally just had, like, better engines than you did. They're literally just trying their best to, like, go as fast as possible, and they literally had, like, faster motors than you. Yeah, I did get hit by one of those, like, airplane bombs, so that slowed me down. And even then, I was still barely able to get first place after all that. But here, like, it's just really helpful to know where all the speed boosts are. So yeah, one thing I did just before race day actually hit was just kind of, like, look back through. I don't even know what happened there. I don't know why I just ended up turning around there. But the one thing I knew I definitely had to do was just watch back through at least one of my finished runs of this. Just to see where all the speed boosts were, just to know which lane I wanted to be in, to try and catch every speed boost possible. Yeah, so for example, I want to get like on the left lane, assuming like you're just facing in that direction would be left. And then yeah, by this point, I want to be in the left lane for like the Trade West logo because that's where the 2 speed boosts there are. And then here, I want to get in this lane. No, I think the other lane might have been even better because there were like 2 speed arrows there. Yeah, so it's also just a matter of remembering which lanes you want to be in to catch all the speed boosts as well. Because, yeah, you really want to go fast in some of these later races. You just want to go fast in general when you're speedrunning. Just in general, you want to go fast. But even more so on the later tracks where the opponents are just driving a lot faster than they were earlier. So yeah, just remembering all the lanes, that definitely goes a long way to help you out. And also which lanes have obstacles like, I don't know, puddles of water, or even worse, like oil slicks on the road that can just cause your car to spin out of control and possibly crash. Yeah, that you really want to avoid. You do not want to crash, especially like if you're already like bringing up the rear. Yeah, that oil slick, I just ran into that, and then just like that I crashed, and that set me back quite a bit. Went too fast, and if you're really going fast and you hit an oil slick, it's just that much more likely you're gonna spiral out of control and crash somewhere. In fact, yeah, that cost me a first place finish right there, that crash. One thing to know at least, unless you just literally get like dead last, if you can just keep on finishing races like not dead last, you'll get to 80 points eventually without just losing lives and having to use up your continues. But yeah, if you finish like last place. Sure, you'll get 4 points, but the game will just ask you to fork over a continue to keep playing, and if you run out of continues, then yeah, it depends on how many you use up. You might game over before you even see the 80-point threshold. If you just lose enough races. So yes, I forgot to mention, yeah, you can game over in this. That's another reason you want to go fast. Not just the fact that you get more places for first place finishes, but you can game over in this. And I think at least on 1 or 2 practice runs of this, I had game overed. I don't remember if I somehow get out of dead last here. If I don't, I wouldn't be too surprised. Okay. And I somehow get out of dead last there. I don't know what the hell Max was doing to somehow get last, even though I was having a much worse race than he was. So yeah, it's apparent at this point I'm absolutely gonna have to play the 9th track to just get the 80 points. I've already gotten 1 second place and 1 third place finish, so really, realistically speaking, I'll have to play like another full race to get the first place finish. Not that. No, the 80 points I meant to say. More bombs I have to zigzag around and hopefully just dodge them all, which I did. Yeah, some nerve just to start dropping bombs on the racers. Some nerve you have. I mean, I guess, yeah, this game I guess was still okay. This game was still alright. Also, really wasn't one of my favorite picks, but I didn't mind running it too much. I was still definitely willing to play it. And actually try and get good at getting first place finishes, of course. Here you literally just have to like alternate between pressing A and B. And I use like one hand to mash A and the other mash B to just alternate really quickly. I get first place in that minigame every time. So with third place giving you 6 points for that finish, with a third place finish resulting in 6 points, all I know for certain that all I have to do is just like not get dead last. Even if I do, like the next race would guarantee me to just get 80 points. But if I get like at least third place on this race, I only have to do like another race afterwards. And of course, I did just look to see where all the speed boosts were, and I remembered where all the speed boosts were, and I took all the speed boosts. Maybe except for that last one, but I took almost every speed boost for a nice and easy first place. And yes, I just been buying like all the best motors I could along the way. Except for like that very first motor. Yeah, so with that done right there, we move on to Dragon Warrior 4. Specifically, start at Chapter 2 and defeat the Chameleon Humanoid. Not even all of Chapter 2, just beat this like one like boss that's like only part of the way through. So yep, Dragon Warrior 4. So there's our RPG. Here's our role-playing game. Where we get to play as this tomboyish princess who wants to go on an adventure but can't because her father's just too worried about her getting her ass killed out there. So he just straight up tells you, you're not allowed to leave this castle. And then like our tutor just tells us, why couldn't we be more like our dead mother? I mean, yeah, Crystal's right. That is pretty reckless just to go out alone, by ourselves, as some girl. And then I remember, okay, the guard that I need to talk to is on the ground floor, not one floor up. So apparently the strategy guide that I followed said they had to talk to those 3 people. I don't remember if it was in that specific order, but you have to talk to those 3 people. And then there's an item in this drawer you can take and equip. And if you'll notice here, there's a section of the wall that's just been poorly repaired that you can kick through. Yeah, apparently Alina already damaged that wall in one of her fits of rage. So it had to be repaired, but it was poorly done, so she could just break it again. Wow, this chick's even more destructive than I am. Wow, she's even crazier than me. Yeah, and then the other 2 people we talked to earlier just tag along with us, so that it's gonna be a lot safer just to go as 3 people instead of just 1. So here, I just buy a copper sword and I give it to Christo, and then I just give that sword to Christo, and then Christo gives his club to Alina, so she has a weapon. Because I don't think she can wield the copper sword, but he can? And Bray just has a magic attack that does good amounts of damage but requires magic points to actually go and use. Yeah, the strategy guide that I was following, Countess wrote it. I mean, I felt like the name rang a bell. I must have played against him at least once or twice in Zelda 2 Randomizer. And then just figured out he's way, way more familiar with Dragon Warrior than I'll ever be. Yeah, he's the one who authored the guide to just do, like, the speedruns of pretty much the whole game, actually. Not just Chapter 2, but all I really had to do was just, like, skip to the portion of the guide that was talking about Chapter 2. In fact, you didn't even have to play, like, Chapter 1 if you didn't want to. You could just also use, like, the ROM hack version that Big 20 staff provided you for Race Day. They provide you with, like, a hacked version with a Game Genie code pre-patched in that lets you just leave the castle in Chapter 1, talk to the king to just auto-skip Chapter 1, and put yourself straight at Chapter 2. Or if you want to also just use a save file with Chapter 2, you could have done that as well. Yeah, don't mind me, I'm just rewatching. Both rewatching and just, yeah, I'm restreaming my entire Big 20 run that I did on Race Day like about a week ago. And providing some extra commentary on which runs I've personally liked, which ones I didn't. How well did I do? 34th out of 65 people, so... yeah, looking back at this, I know I could have done better. Mega Man 4 was probably the biggest culprit for my time loss, though. I died to Bright Man twice. And then I game overed on Ring Man. Lolo 3 also went a little bit rough. I forgot some of the puzzle solutions. Had to just do some of the puzzles multiple times over on Lolo 3. That Street Basket game, I thought I was gonna do like at least somewhat decent at it. No, it took me 3 minutes. My personal best for 50 points on Street Basket is literally 46 seconds, by the way. On Race Day, it took me 3 minutes. I literally I could barely get any super shots. And a lot of the regular shots I did get in, a lot of them missed, even though I was playing with a character that had like some of the best shooting accuracy in the game. He still missed a lot of his shots. How well did I do last year? A little bit better than that, maybe like top 60% or something, or no, top 40%. Yeah, I think I meant to say like top 40%. Yeah, last Big 20 had like a lot more popular games, so maybe we just got like a lot more runners. Maybe like some who aren't like so dedicated that showed up that didn't show up for the list with more obscure picks. I don't know. I'm just still thinking, I'm expecting games like Super Mario Bros. 3 to be like way more optimized. People to just be like way better at playing that at the top level than something more obscure, like, I don't know, Famicom Ramparts, for example. Okay, let me just get this out of the way right now. Dragon Warrior 4. I guess it was like at least an opportunity to relax after all the madness that was being thrown at you left and right up to this point, but this is almost just like 10 minutes straight of grinding levels to fight the chameleon humanoid outside Tempe. You gotta do just this over and over again for like 8 to 10 minutes. Just trying to farm some decent levels for the one boss you have to fight. I don't know, this just gets like really like stale really quickly in my opinion. If I really just that badly want the farm experience to just level up my character, just do the same thing over and over again for like ridiculously long stretches of time on end, I'd go play old school RuneScape. I'd literally go play RuneScape if I want to do this. Not like not like speedrun or anything. And this right here too might be like one of the most like RNG heavy games, if not the most RNG heavy game in this entire list as well. Considering like whether or not your attack hits, your enemy's attack hits, how much experience you gain, what enemies show up, how much your stats go up when you level up, how much health the enemies start with when they spawn, how much damage they do when they attack, if your attacks hit, if they fail. There's so much randomness in this! So I could never really care too much about trying to optimize Dragon Warrior 4 because for the most part, like, the game was really just out of my control and I was just stuck along for the ride. Like, whatever happened, happened. I guess maybe except for the menuing near the start of the run, like, I kind of just have to, like, play along with the game at this point, not really so much try and go fast. I have to just play along with the game here. Yeah, the strategy from that guide from Calvinus recommended I get Alina and Crystal to level 4 and Bray to level 3. I'm still in the process of doing that right now. I still don't have the levels on my other two characters yet. Yeah, at this point I'm still trying to get to, like, level 4 on everybody except for Bray. Oh, also, like, there's maybe a small chance you can land quote-unquote terrific blows on enemies. Or maybe you get, like, an extra combat phase, or maybe the enemies get an extra combat phase. Yeah, again, there's just so many variables in this. It's ridiculous. I think I just stop at the end mainly just to get Bray his magic back, so we can do Ice Bolt again. Okay, Elena leveled up, but I don't remember if Christo did here. I guess maybe a few more fights and Crystal will level up too. Because he learns a spell upon reaching level 4 that whoever he casts it on just greatly raises their defense. Also, at level 3, Bray learns a spell that lowers an enemy's defense. That being Sap. Forgot to mention that's why I want Bray at level 3. Yep, Crystal leveled up too. Learns the spell Upper, which boosts an ally's defense. And And then, yeah, at this point, I am literally just trying to follow the guide to the letter that Countess wrote. And with that grinding out of the way, now I think I'm ready to fight the chameleon humanoid. With just decent luck, I should be able to get through the fight with Countess's strategy he recommends. The shaman has something very important to say right here. It's coming up. Wait for it. Don't ever litter the litter. No time for puns, I'm sorry. But no, seriously, don't ever litter the litter. And then there's the chameleon humanoid who's interested in young girls, apparently. Probably could have picked a better way to phrase that. So apparently the optimal sequence is very first turn. Lower humanoid's defense, lower his defense, then increase Elena's defense with the upper spell. And then kind of just have her do like a lot of the fighting, and crystal healing when our other party members start to run low on health. These rabbit hounds always start with like the maximum health they can, which is 23. Chameleon humanoid also likes to heal both himself or the rabbit hounds, whoever happens to have like low health at any given moment in time. So an ideal strategy is to like actually do like 1/3 of the damage to a single like rabbit hound on one round of combat, and then on the next round of combat try and do the next 2/3 of damage to finish off the rabbit hound, because otherwise if it gets too low on health, chameleon humanoid will just keep healing it. And I figured if I just kill the rabbit hounds as fast as possible, that's going to be like fewer enemies alive that can just kill us. That'll be like fewer sources of damage we have to worry about. And then this gets a lot less scary when it's just chameleon humanoid himself that's alive trying to kill us. Sure, he could heal himself, but eventually he's both gonna run out of magic. And if he's only just trying to heal himself, he's not gonna be attacking us at the same time. Yeah, he ran out of magic to heal. And now he just ran out of health entirely. Sure, I defeated the chameleon humanoid, but I still have to match through a bunch of text boxes. Because for some reason, the Big 20 staff decided that we need to just end after like a specific cutscene, not like after the chameleon humanoid dies. Time honestly could have just stopped like the moment the chameleon humanoid died, and we probably wouldn't have complained at all. Considering after that, like, chameleon humanoid death, you're just mashing through a bunch of text boxes. For level ups you gain that you're literally never going to use in this marathon again. And then the final game in this big race. The final game was a ROM hack of Friday the 13th, which all it really does is just fix the RNG so that no matter what, you will always start with the best possible case scenario to get a fast time. The camp counselors will always start in the best locations possible to let you get a fast time, no matter what. So there's a very specific way to sequence this to make sure that nothing goes horribly wrong and you can consistently get, like, clear times under 4 minutes here. Yeah, there's a very specific, like, route to follow to just consistently get sub 4 times, which I definitely had to put in my fair share of attempts to make this consistent. I've had, like, quite a few attempts just fail miserably, like, either Jason runs away and I can't catch him, or one of the camp counselors I need to have alive just dies to Jason. I've had, like, a lot of things go wrong during practice, so not gonna lie. It was a little bit tense getting up to this point. Sure, I knew I wasn't really gonna do like any better than maybe like top 35 at that point, but still, it was a little tense getting into this game. I've been sitting here playing for almost 3.5 hours straight. No, even more than that. And now, I gotta get like a solid run Friday the 13th in where I don't fuck anything up at all. After already playing for like almost the whole like 3 hours and 30 minutes straight. Or almost straight. I did take breaks in between. I've already just spent so much time on this marathon run. I better not screw this up, is what I'm telling myself. I better remember everything. So yeah, as soon as Jason turns around, he's gonna run away. Just to make sure he's not gonna be able to like run away so fast that you can't catch him. You want to turn around, you want to start running and stop throwing torches as soon as he starts like turning around. Yeah, once Jason turns around, you better stop throwing torches and you want to start chasing him down. And another thing you need to really make sure you can do, don't touch Jason directly. That does way more contact damage than projectiles do. So that was the end of day 1. But watch out, Jason's still alive and stronger than before. Day 2 can be like super short though if you do it right. And how day 3 is going to play out depends on what kind of a day 2 you get. So I think here I don't kill Jason in 3 cycles. Okay, I killed Jason. He got a little bit close to Chrissy, so that was looking a little dicey. Chrissy could have died there if, I don't know, I took another hit from Jason there. So that was day 2. 4 rounds of me just throwing torches in Jason's face. And Jason died outside the woods. He died on the road outside the woods, so... I'm telling myself, okay. Day 3 is gonna go this way. It's gonna be like, we're gonna find Jason. He's gonna show up here. When he runs, we're gonna run to the right. Am I doing this right? We're gonna run to the right. Am I doing this correctly? He's gonna show up again. Then when he, runs away again, I go down here and I just cut him off at the leg. I cut back into him at the leg. He runs away. And then I just hope he shows up again. And if he doesn't, I hop on the boat at the lake. I move around a bit, and then I hop back off if he doesn't show up. And okay, then he shows up again. And now I got him to show back up again. Almost didn't even get the day 3 kill. Literally had like 2 slivers of health remaining when that was done. Yeah, that was a rather intense day 3. I thought maybe I also did like the row your boat thing. Like I thought I did that incorrectly too and just lost Jason. First instinct to get back on the screen with the boat, just move a little bit more and then back, and then maybe I'll get lucky, maybe Jason will be there. He was. And then I barely kill him before it's too late. I barely have enough health left to survive that scuffle. So yep, that right there was Big 20 number 18. That was my performance on race day for Big 20 number 18 right there. Yeah, overall, I still think Battle Kid was probably my favorite game in this entire list, and Daydream and Davy my least favorite. I guess if, I don't know, you just want to watch back through the entirety of that run. If you just want to hear my overall thoughts on each of the games, I guess you can just go back to watching all those games and see what I had to say about them. Young Indiana Jones, I forgot to mention that Young Indiana Jones Chronicles was another super popular game amongst the Big 20 speedrunning community for this list. This was also voted to be one of the top games, if not the preferred game by the Big 20 community. I mean, this one I also definitely did enjoy Young Indiana Jones as well once I actually got good at it. Yeah, once I actually got good at just staying alive, I definitely did enjoy this one. And yeah, I can definitely see why it would be a top pick. It's absolutely brutal, but yeah, it's still definitely very learnable. You can still just master the game, figure out the enemy patterns, figure out where their weaknesses are and just exploit them and still beat the game rather easily once you actually know what the hell you're doing. But until then, yeah, it's an absolutely brutal. And yeah, going into young Indiana Jones blind, I think like one of the blind runners took like at least 6 to 7 hours to beat it. Like I kid you not. And just yeah, imagining the difficulty of this game, it's I totally would see why someone just running this like no prior practice taking 6 hours to get it. Yeah, I can totally see that happening. So yeah, that right there was pretty much all I had to say. And now I actually have like a copy of my full Big 20 run for Big 20 number 18 like on YouTube. The VOD's not going anywhere. Now there's just also like additional commentary on like what happened on race day, my thoughts overall on the games list, where I felt like I could have maybe played better. Yeah, especially Mega Man 4. I know I could have played better there. Just watching some of the other racers like after race day, or even like one of the blind runners, I got to see secrets of Mega Man 4 that I didn't know were there that probably seriously could have helped me out if I was in a pinch. I was honestly just expecting to play well enough in Mega Man 4 to not need some of the other secrets that I didn't know the locations of, but yeah, look what happened. That clearly didn't go as I was expecting. Costing me easily about like 7 to 8 minutes, if not more. Just by like a lot of things going wrong in Mega Man 4. So overall, I was anticipating maybe I could theoretically do this entire list, including, yeah, having to wait with all the 30-second breaks, theorizing maybe a list like this could be, like, doable, like, in its entirety under, like, I was gonna say 3.5 minutes, but no. I wouldn't even get past the first goal in that amount of time. 3.5 hours. I got a 3:44 as my final time, which isn't too terribly far from, like, what I was hoping to do with this Big 20 list. I mean, if I miss, like, the 3:30 mark, maybe I'll at least try and get, like, sub 4 hours. Sub 4 hours is still, like, a pretty respectable time, and I get that with, like, well over 15 minutes to spare, so all in all, I still really did feel like I did a good job overall, except for a few games. Just about, like, every Big 20. I do, like, a decent-ish to, like, good run for all but, like, 3 or 4 of the games. I maybe have like a few like notable disasters, but that's about it. And this one was just more of the same. So yeah, Mega Man 4. I guess maybe you could say Neketsu Street Basket with respect to like my actual personal best. Millipede to an extent as well. Tetris 2. Lolo 3. That was probably just about it. The rest of pretty much the rest of the list I did like okay on at least.